Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Hello, governor.
How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing fantastic now that I have that coffee.
I feel like you ever watch a show, Get Smart?
Yeah, no, the movie or the show?
The show from back in the 60s. Did they do the Cone of Silence in the movie?
I have no idea.
The Cone of Silence would be, so Agent 86 and his boss, I'm blanking on his name, Chief, they would sit like this, but like they'd be talking about like secret agent stuff. So they'd bring these things down to like the Cone of Silence so nobody could hear them, but they couldn't hear themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like this is like, but we can hear each other.
We can hear each other.
Modern technology.
It feels like we're in a different room with this glass, especially when you get close. You don't realize like it's just this little superficial thing, but it helps, and it's a smarter way to do this. So
I like so for those of you that don't know this table that Ben has used to be in his kitchen, and this has been in your family for like what 60 years?
Oh no, not this one.
Not this one.
So this was in the living room.
This was in the living room one.
This one I got 2 years ago on Craigslist. The wooden one was been there for 60 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Long time.
See, I already got my facts wrong.
You were close. You were like mixing stuff.
You can tell I'm still waking up. I'm not fully caffeinated yet, but
this is my third amount of coffee today. So
yeah,
I'm good.
I had my this is real coffee. What kind of coffee is this?
This is Verve. I believe it's Colombian coffee.
Is this one of those where you got to like filter it?
Yeah, I did the pour over filter, everything.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the water to 210, grounded the beans freshly. Did the pour method. It's good. And that's why I had this dark
so
chocolate
much
with it.
fucking work. By the way, can we swear on the show?
You can say whatever you want.
Fucking Christ. All right. You know, I've been told recently that I basically just like coffee flavored water because I just do the donut shop K-cups and I put ice cubes in them to cool it off because, you know, I'm weird. But this is real coffee. It's strong, it's thick, it's bold. It's got some, you know,
Flavor?
yeah. Not the water.
Yeah, it's a great balance of you get a nice body out of it. You don't get too much saturation where it tastes very like mucky and kind of like just like it's been sitting.
Sure.
Because it's quite fresh, you know. And you also don't because it's a light roast. You get way more notes, flavors, a more mouthful of flavors because the beans aren't when they're roasted dark roast.
Sure.
It burns off the notes, and you actually burn off more caffeine.
Burns off the notes?
Yeah, the flavors, the different
okay.
flavors. Like what you'd get with a hard liquor or a beer when you could taste different flavors in it, that kind of gets burnt off in the process. So I've been told. I'm not an expert, nor do I roast, but I've been told people who do roast and who are experts.
I love roasts.
Roast like
ha-ha roast. Man, you weren't going with that joke.
I missed you, Rob. We used to have a lot of bad jokes together.
Welcome to Wolf City, kids. Yeah.
You know more about movies than anybody I've ever met. More than I do.
What about music? Because I really like having that crown.
Music is a different ball game
Okay.
because music has there's way more content.
I know about famous music.
Okay.
Like mainstream music.
Got it. See, there's just so much more content with music.
Sure.
And there's way more cross genres. There's more material out there than there is film. It's just different. It's a different art form. It's a lot easier to put it out than to make a whole movie.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, but yeah, no, it's been something that always connected us right out the gate as people and as friends. That's how we know each other because you reached out to record your first album here.
I tell everybody that story.
Tomorrow is Forever.
Yeah.
Great record.
But it's so, like, I tell everybody that story because it's like, I hired this guy to, like, cut a record at his house. He had no idea what he was getting into. Because, you know, he's just like, oh, these people come over, they record.
Can you get a little closer to that mic?
Yeah,
please?
I can get a little closer
Normally,
to the mic.
without glass here, I normally shove the mic into people's face.
Yeah. And I went with you because, like, I record or studio shop for a couple months. And I was just, I don't know, I got a feeling about this guy. But, like, that being said, we're very yin-yang.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, all right, we'll go with them. And then, like, day one that I'm here, we're, like, getting guitar levels. And I'm, like, talking about the Avengers. And you're like, oh, did you see this trailer? And then the whole time we're cutting the record, I'm going, me and him need to start a show together. I'm always hustling. I'm always just, like, thinking forward. Like, how can we work together and try and, like, make money in this racket?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love movies, too. I love podcasts. Obviously, we did Friends of Music for, 7 years. And Mandate movie, where this is 2 years. But
know.
we're coming back on to it because the pandemic has messed things up heavily.
Well, yeah, well, there's nothing to talk about. There's
nothing
no
to talk
movie
about.
news.
And I also personally stopped watching so many movies.
Me too.
A
I'm so
lot.
far behind.
I
haven't watched, if they came out with the Oscar nominations tomorrow, I'd be 95% of the movies I've not seen.
Me as well.
I've seen Trial of Chicago 7. That's probably the only Oscar baity one that I've seen, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's it. Borat 2.
I didn't even see Borat, no.
It's good.
Yeah.
My wife,
I heard it was funny. I haven't seen it, though.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And they really do a good job. The only thing with this one is that I feel in 5 to 10 years it'll be a little more dated than the first one was. That's without giving anything away. It's just because some of the topical issues, it's all right, that's going to pass.
Got it.
So, because they really do cover COVID.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Hardcore.
The COVID thing, it was really weird when it first started being part of pop culture. Maybe July, I first started seeing it in commercials.
Sure.
Masks and stuff. I was like, oh no.
Come to Orlando, Florida. There's kids running around with masks on. I'm
Yeah.
stay the fuck at home. Don't go to Orlando, Florida. Do you want to squash this thing or do you want it to go on for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's been a very controversial, problematic, up and down battle the last 10 months.
Are you done with people like I am? I'm just so fucking at first it was okay, nobody really knows what's going on. All right, blah, 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 blah. But then by the end of the summer, it's listen, kids, listen, folks, time out. We are in the middle of a pandemic. Say it with me now. 3 syllables. Pandemic. Stay the fucking home. Wear a goddamn mask. Stop telling people, oh, it's my freedom. I don't want to wear a mask. Go fuck yourself. Put a goddamn mask on. Shut the fuck up. Go to Walmart. Get your groceries and go home.
Yeah, I wore a mask every time I went out, and
Exactly.
I would only go to grocery
required
stores.
now. It's been required
Yeah.
for 7-8 months.
Right,
So-
and just stores, and I didn't really go anywhere. I'm fortunate to have enough land here to just kind of, I just lived here, and
I'm surprised you're not just growing your own vegetables and
it's 3 months. I will be.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I was expecting a phone call over the summer going, Rob, do you want to come over and help me build a fence?
Well, you wanna know why?
I've got some cattle on its way.
Well, first of all, cattle. I wish I could, but it'd break some codes in this city. We're not unincorporated. We can't just do stuff.
We can do chickens. We can put those in the basement.
I think I could do chickens. I've looked into it. We'll talk about that off mic.
I can get them for $5 a piece. I know a guy.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you know.
I know a couple guys. And gals.
I was gonna do a garden forever, but DZ Fest kind of takes up the whole yard.
Is that going on this year?
Possibly, if everything needs to be completely, legitimately legal, morally, ethically, legally,
So probably not.
pop culture wise, everything needs to be perfect.
You
by
thought about doing a
September.
virtual one? Oh, you want to do it in September.
Yeah, September.
Okay.
Move just to give us 3 extra months,
Yeah,
2
yeah,
extra months of leeway. End of September,
Have
last
you
weekend in September.
Contemplated doing a virtual show? No, it's not
It's
the
not my
same.
thing. It doesn't work for me personally.
I miss playing. It really. So I've been doing pretty good this whole past year, surprisingly, and actually better. I've been doing better than I ever have, but the last couple of weeks, it's finally hit me. I got my guitar out and I set up my equipment, and I'm like, you need to knock some of the rust off with your stage presence, stamina, right? Holy fuck! It's just wow, I miss playing. I miss playing. I miss going out. I miss the lights. I miss the, all the narcissistic.
No, the thing is, you're a
Watch
musician,
me,
right?
watch me. Yeah.
You're a musician. You miss performing,
Yeah.
creating art to perform for people and getting that reaction and maybe making a difference in something in their mind, right?
Oh, for sure.
Well, people equally miss that information, receiving it. They miss going to shows. They miss seeing a musician. They miss singing along to something. They miss, dancing in a crowd or moshing or swaying or crying or holding someone's hand while they watch something. They miss going to the movies and doing those same things on a first date, holding a hand, going to see a movie. These things are very real. They're very much missed. And that's why I don't think those things are going away at all. They're very visceral and very necessary for human connection. You could stream all you want. You and I are massive movie nerds. And the fact that as soon as they got rid of movies in theaters, we kind of just like stopped means a lot. It shows that like, oh, people like this. I know many people who are like, I just miss going to the movies on like a Friday when like it's the winter and there's nothing to do and I want to see a new Oscar-worthy movie, you know?
We also live in a bubble. There's thousands of us in the country, but we live in this very small bubble where we're on this fast freight train that's this whole like, you know, oh, this is the slate for the year. And it's like, we all know, like, these movies are coming out this month, and these are the blockbusters, and these are the indies, and these are the Oscar baity movies, and these are the blah, 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 blahs, and these are the ones with Tom Cruise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fuck Tom Cruise. But yeah. And then the train stopped. And when the train stopped, it's like, I'm not sitting, like, we would get so excited. Oh, Avengers, blah, 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 blah is coming out in 3 months. And it's just that mental countdown to that enjoyment. But now that it's all gone, it's just like, well, what's my incentive to watch this movie? Because there's no hype train. There's no fear of missing out on premiere night. There's no, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, for me, this movie came out, cool. Nobody's really talking about it. It trended on Twitter for like 12 hours and then it passed. And it's like Judas and the Black Messiah just came out over the weekend. I still haven't watched it yet.
I never even heard of that.
But that would be something that I would have watched, you know, opening night. Now, like WandaVision, because I've been going live afterwards and doing my reviews for it, that I stay up for. That's the only thing that I'm currently, you know, on top of. Mm-hmm. But like, I just finally watched The Little Things and it had been out for a month. You know, normally that would have been a movie. It's Denzel.
Yeah.
I fucking love Denzel.
Yeah.
That would have been it's Friday night, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What about you? How have you been watching movies?
Next to nothing besides the 4K discs that I've been personally buying and watching on my new player.
Okay.
Only because it's just otherworldly. The image, the sound, the experience. It's very theatrical. Been getting a lot of them, trying to find them for cheap, but it's amazing. Just watching that uncompressed video, such high quality. It's unreal.
For sure.
And but I don't know. I stopped paying for all my streaming services. I got rid of them. I have none. None.
You don't have Disney Plus?
Nothing.
So you're not watching WandaVision?
So everything on this television behind me is like my roommate stuff. So the only place I could watch anything, they're all on there. They have their own streaming services. I can watch stuff on there. I just kind of just don't.
Did you watch Mando?
I haven't finished it. I watched like 3 episodes. I haven't been watching it. I literally.
Do you know the ending?
No, don't say anything.
I'm not going to.
WandaVision,
I am so
nothing.
like, dude. Our lives are like in ruins. I mean, we are the opposite of what we used to be.
It's good though because I found new ways. I want to get back into that mindset, but I think for literally 2 decades, I just like overdid it and just went real hard in watching a lot of movies all night, every day. And it takes up a lot of time. So I've been just delegating my time to other things, going on hikes, being outside as much as I can, even in this weather. Like I'm going to go for a hike after this in the blizzard.
Why?
Health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, meditative, continuity in my life. It breaks up the day for me.
I mean, I'll go to the gym. Like I love.
It's the same concept. It's the same mentality. Why people go to the gym every day.
70 degrees in there.
Well,
you know.
I like the struggle. I like the suffering. Just like in the summer, I love walking when it's 95 and just sweating profusely, you know?
It builds character.
It builds character. It makes you appreciate things differently. I don't mind the cold and the snow. I like going on a hike and seeing the snow over every branch. No one's out there. It's silent. It's very quiet in the winter.
Give me 80 degrees and a picture of a snowy hill.
It made me like seasons in a new way and not kind of be, not resent them. The silence of the winter is something most people don't experience. There's much less cars, much less people, much less productivity. So the ambient acoustics of the world, at least around here, drops by a lot. The highways have less people. When it's snowing out, there's nothing out there, just silent. And you just hear the earth. You don't see any animals. You don't see people.
Right.
And you just kind of see what is necessary for life to keep moving forward. So it's a different appreciation for it. I know, it's very hippy-dippy.
You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, more power to you. If that's what you get excited about, go for it.
It's fun. And when you come back, like last night, we went during this really bad blizzard last night.
Wait, you were out walking during the snow last night?
Yeah, I walked from 5 to like 6:30 during like the peak of it. My left eye got frozen shut, and
I
my
don't
phone
even know.
froze. I was gonna bust it out to take a picture
Yeah.
because it was crazy looking,
And it said,
and it just shut off.
Said,
It said,
the screen came on. It said, "Ben, go the fuck back inside the house."
yeah, it froze and my phone died, and it's never happened to me before. And the snow. So I have goggles and a mask. The goggles were fogging up, but it was so cold out because it was like negative 15 or 20
Oh yeah.
that the goggles started freezing over. I couldn't wipe it off. I had to scrape it. So I took them off, put in my pocket. So now my face is exposed. I might have red marks on my cheeks still. I don't know. And, you know, you have heat on your face. So the snow's hitting you and then
Yeah.
it's melting. But then I had this gusts of wind coming and my eyes were so close to try to not have a lot of snow get in my eyes because I didn't have the goggles on, that this one was so close that the water between the eyelids was close enough to where it froze. And I'm just sitting there and I couldn't open my eye. And it was just frozen across my eye. And I just covered it like this and warmed it up with my hand. And it melted, and I just pulled my eye open, and it was fine. But it was a good experience. I enjoy those types of things. I didn't get hurt, so it doesn't matter. You're just kind of like,
I'm just taking it all in and thinking about my night last night, and it, it's fairly good. I was inside the house the entire time.
most people are. I didn't
Other
see
than when
anybody outside.
When I took the trash cans out and had to put hoodie on, I had to put pants on because I usually just wear basketball. By the way, thanks for inviting me over. I actually had a reason to put pants on today, like real pants, not sweatpants, because that's what I've worn for a year.
That's what everyone's been wearing for a year. Yeah.
I mean, I invested in like $100 worth of basically athletic clothes, and that's all I've worn.
I don't
love it.
blame you. That's a good chunk of people.
Yeah.
I personally get dressed up every morning just to maintain like sanity. I definitely, people always give me crap. They're like, do you ever just relax?
Yeah, well, what I
don't
love
wear
is
sweatpants.
on camera you only have to like look good from here on up.
Yeah.
So like, okay, cool. Like, I mean, I've got a million graphic T-shirts or whatever, or I'll just throw a hoodie on. Or like yesterday, I did my live show early evening, and I was like, oh, let's fancy it up today, and I put my jacket on, and I'm wearing basketball shorts, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. Nobody knows. Fuck them if they do.
It's really interesting to see how much people have just like, they work from home, they work from their laptop, and they just wear just the most lounge clothes day in and day out all day.
Well, that's what I was saying on my drive over here when I first walked in. You were like, oh, hey, how's the drive? I'm like, fucking, I don't miss, like, I miss driving in the car, like, on longer, like, spurts, more than, like, 5-10 minutes, just, like, running to the store. Because I used to be how I'd listen to podcasts and music and stuff all the time. But then, like, driving here today, I'm like, man, I got so used to just, hey, we're doing a show at 10, and I roll out of bed at 9:55 and turn my computer on and, 3, 2, turn the studio lighting on, and let's roll. You know what I mean? Like, when this is all over, it's going to take some getting used to for everybody, like to go back to the way things were, which I don't think things will ever be the same at all. But just that, the commute, you know what I mean?
What do you mean by you don't think anything will be, or things won't be the same? Like,
I think a lot of things won't be the same.
give me an example of what you think.
I think for, there's, 375 million people in this country?
330, a lot.
Yeah, something like that. There's going to be at least a few million people that are always going to be looking over their shoulder with, like, and I'm going to be one of them. It's going to be weird shaking people's hands.
Is it weird that I'm not going to be like that?
You're not?
I'm the least germophobic person
It's
ever.
not. Well, it's not. It's just, this is like the new way of life.
It doesn't, I get it. It's dangerous.
Sure.
It's serious. Personally, it doesn't scare me that much. But that's because of
Doesn't scare
my
me
life.
either. It's just you go so long with that like constant fear of like, don't touch people, stay 6 feet away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that becomes your new mindset. So to kind of reverse that mindset, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, it depends on your situation. Like, I'm not around anybody who's older and not around anybody who's younger. I'm not around anybody who has a health ailment, immune compromise. Everyone I'm around is my age. We're all young. We're all healthy. And
I don't want it.
yeah, I mean, I don't.
At the end
I
of the
don't
day,
want
it's
it.
just it's.
I don't
Rob
want it.
Fishbeck's looking out for Rob Fishbeck.
I don't want it, but it doesn't scare me either, personally. So
Because
yeah,
we don't know what the long-term side effects are.
That's what is the worrisome thing, not knowing like what will happen in a year or 2 or 6 months from it. I'm getting sweaty.
Getting sweaty.
I get hot when I talk like this, just like focusing, Why just smiled?
I like to break the fourth wall and look at the camera sometimes.
I can't. Oh, speaking of cameras, I want to promote this art real quick before we get lost. This is a good friend of mine, Tim Shirkowski, and he's a phenomenal artist. I love his artwork. He does a lot of pointillism and using pretty much a small. I'm going to find up his Instagram. I think it's bulbs. Let me look it up real quick. I know it's not under his actual name. I always do this on the podcast. I'm always looking up stuff.
Always looking at shit.
Well, I'm always like behind on paying it. Why won't my phone's been having issues?
Why?
I don't know, because I think I get it wet all the time and I kind of abuse it.
How do you get it wet?
The shower, listening to. Why won't?
Wait, you can take your phone in the shower?
I mean, it's waterproof, water resistance. Even though I've noticed how it's kind of gotten messed up from doing it. All right, so it is Bulb 2021 or Bulb BULB 2021. This is Tim Shirkowski, great artist. He's made art for shows we've had here. He's made posters. He's made he's sold his work at DZ Fest. He's come to support shows. Great guy. I love his artwork. If you look very closely, this camera is not going to do it justice, but a lot of these shapes and the swirling are all done by hand to create a lot of different textures, and it's really cool. So thank you, Tim, for bringing your work and displaying it. Again, that's Bulbs 2021. Go check it out on Instagram. Support his artwork. Purchase it. Admire it. Share it. Thank you.
Check it out.
We're back.
I love the plugs.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've been noticing too on your Instagram game's been up. You've been like all this artwork. Yeah. I mean, like I'm looking at. If you're watching this, you can't see this, but like over here on the side, there's all these paintings and stuff. Yeah, I walk into your house. I haven't been here in 9 months.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've seen you one time in person since COVID started, and I'm like, wow, you've done some upgrading.
Yeah, I repainted everything, reconfigured, bought a bunch of new furniture, redesigning, repotted the plants. I have a lot of artwork, and it's hard to properly display it and put it up. And I'm thinking of like the DZ stuff I used to have around, putting that like strictly the basement. Like this room in the basement is like DZ stuff, and then the house is like a house. But it just so happens I gain a lot of cool artwork from the last decade of doing fun stuff, and I like art a lot. So
I know you do.
Yeah,
wow,
all kinds.
Love it.
A little obsessive. And you just learn on Facebook, Instagram. You kind of, in order to just keep moving forward, you could use whatever word you want. It could be relevancy. It could be on top of your game, but you gotta like post something, especially in a time when you can't do anything. You can't have a show which represents your progress.
That's what
you know what I'm saying. So you have to promote to represent your progress. It's a weird way of doing it.
I fell off social media so bad like last year because it was like I was so used to the racket, at least once or twice a week. Like if I was, playing something or hosting something, getting the word out, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which Instagram and Twitter, I didn't like my audience for like more like bar gigs and shit wasn't that market. So it was more Facebook. And then it's like nothing. Mm-hmm. And then, politics took over and it's like, you're like start going down, blah, 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 blah. But January 1st, I have 10 goals for the year. I'm not going to say all of them publicly, but I have 10 goals for the year. And one of them is to really focus. Like I have a goal set in mind, but really focus on social media.
Yeah.
Like really get my game up. I've been working on Twitter and Instagram, posting at least tweeting like 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm one of those people, like if it doesn't get enough likes, I delete it, because I want it to look good, right? Increase followers.
I don't know anything about that. I never used Twitter.
It sucks. Social media sucks. But unfortunately, working in entertainment and trying to make it and hustle, you have to. Like, I used to be one of those people who's like, fuck social media. I'm just going to, the art will speak for itself. Wrong. All capital letters. Wrong.
Art used to speak for itself. Now it doesn't. Now numbers speak for themselves.
Like somebody like Neil Young would have a very tough time these days, because you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're a big Neil Young fan, but like he's not, you wouldn't see him on social, tweeting all day long. But you know what I will say? You know who my favorite follow on Twitter is? Mark Hamill. Oh, Mark Hamill is hilarious.
Yeah.
He is awesome on Twitter. And he's
those who don't know, that's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker.
Or the Joker.
He's really, I don't know what it was like for him in the 90s and 2000s with like the whole like dealing with the fact that everybody knows him as Luke Skywalker, but he's really embraced it, at least from what I've noticed in the last year or two on Twitter, and he really like it's cool. Like he seems like
Probably
a really
the last
cool
trilogy
guy.
did that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
That money.
But he's great.
I want to segue
All right, let's do it.
to something that I find quite important and quite, I don't know, overlooked and underappreciated by a lot of people. And that is accepting and enjoying a person for just who they are instead of their beliefs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You see where I'm segueing to?
We're going to talk about politics?
Not necessarily
Oh,
politics.
because I love talking about politics.
I hate talking about
I know.
because it's so divisive. But I'm talking about the first time I met you,
Sure.
and we just talked about music
Right.
and film and sprinkles of things in between. You play country, alternative, rock,
Sure.
folk,
Singer-songwriter.
singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Your favorite musicians of all time are,
Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Fleetwood Mac, the Beatles.
and you play
Johnny
music like
Cash.
that. You play a lot of music like that.
Yeah.
And you're from
A small town in the Midwest.
small town Midwest, further from Chicago,
Yeah.
you know, to where
Little
you're not like, would you say, what, 40 miles?
The burbs.
Yeah.
The burbs.
Deep burbs, though, because this is the burbs. You're like deep burbs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For appearances, I like to keep my appearances up. I just say from Chicago, Illinois.
No, that's why I'm not saying what town.
Right.
But I'm using distance because that can help people understand
Sure,
without giving
sure,
away too much information. And that comes with a different type of upbringing.
Very different.
Very different.
Very different.
Even I had a different type of upbringing from you than from somebody from Chicago, just being right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And you came in and we were talking, and you had opposite political ideologies and religious ideologies and beliefs than I did.
Sure.
But that didn't matter to me because I saw how you were as a person,
Right.
and that's all that matters. And the thing is, I'm being very cryptic because I want listeners to understand that no one's political or religious ideology is better than the next.
Well, I mean, I'll just say it out loud.
You could,
So,
you speak.
You know, I grew up in a house, you know, my mom had Fox News on all the fucking time. Like, that's just what she watched. And it wasn't like a big deal or anything. You know what I mean? And like, we grew up during the Bush administration.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I didn't have a problem with them, but at the same time, it's like, you're 14 years old. Like, why would you?
Yeah, you don't know
You know what I
anything.
mean? You
Yeah.
don't know shit.
Yeah.
And then, flash forward to Trump and Hillary. Like, we'll just go directly to that. I was like, I mean, she's just a terrible person. And this guy, he's really ballsy. And I kind of like him because he's not like everybody else. And he says exactly what he's thinking. And he's not a politician. And he obviously can run businesses. He's a multimillionaire, right? Put him in charge because, Obama had promised all of these things. And unfortunately, because of politics as usual, actual politics, the way things are divided and everybody stays on their party lines, right? He did not accomplish all the things he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. He accomplished a lot of things, but not everything he wanted.
Like
to.
the healthcare bill.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was like, this sounds amazing. But what got passed versus what they wanted to pass were very different. And unfortunately, it did fuck up a lot of things for a lot of people. But be able to stay on your parents' health insurance till you're 26. I look at my sister right now who just graduated college. And, she's 20, she's 21. And it's like, because of the pandemic and everything, thank God that happened, because otherwise she probably wouldn't have health insurance because she's a waitress. You know what I mean? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, that was cool. But at the same time, because politics is not my life, it's just something you hear about. Right? So when it came to Trump and Hillary, I'm going, I like this guy. I'll give him a shot because fuck Hillary Clinton. She's just a terrible person.
May I ask, was it a political party thing or is it just a person thing?
It was a person thing.
So
because
you
once,
don't
like
identify...
when Obama ran against Romney, I was like, I mean, I'm kind of going for Obama because this Romney guy's an idiot. You know
So
what I
would you
mean?
not identified as like a Republican?
I definitely identified as a conservative.
As a conservative, okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because once again, being somebody that's, believes in God, unfortunately, is tied to that party. You know what I mean? Is as liberal as you want to be socially. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But once again, it's not something that consumes my life.
Yeah.
Wasn't something that consumed my life. So, it was whatever. Once that guy got into office, though, the first couple of months, I was like, all right, gas is going down. And then he just kept talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, one would think if you became president of the United States, you would act like the president of the United States.
Presidential, sure.
Right. Or at least not a douchebag.
Yeah.
Not a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, once again, it's like when he was pitching, this is how I look at things. It's all, marketing strategy. You're in your pitch room, right? You're pitching the idea. So when he's pitching himself to be a candidate, like, hey, vote for me because I'm going to do this and I'm going to, some of the stuff I'm going, yeah, you're not going to do that because that's just wrong. But I don't like Hillary Clinton. And it's not for any other reason than I look at her record and I'm going, she's been in politics for forever. We got to try something else. Well, once again, once he got in there, it was like, uh-oh.
What about before he got in there when he was talking
SpaghettiOs.
about the wall and stuff? How did you feel about that?
The wall, no. I mean, but once again, that immigration's been, I remember the 2004 election with Bush and Kerry. Immigration was a huge issue. It was like immigration, stem cell research, gay marriage, and then the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those were the four main issues and global warming, which the sad part is half of these issues are still like main talking points, right? So that was a huge thing way back when. And, so here comes Trump and he's like, the wall just got 10 feet higher. And you're going, there's no realistic way you're ever going to pull this off. I'm all about like lowering gas prices and like, yeah, let's bring more jobs back to America because, we've pretty much outsourced just about everything, right? So some of the stuff I could get behind, but then some of the stuff even you knew, it's so far-fetched and ridiculous. Just set it to the side because there's no way he's ever going to pull it off.
I mean, I knew that about most of the things he said.
Right.
Yeah.
But once again, so he gets in there and it's like, all right. And then you move on with your life and some time passes and then you check back into the news and you're going, he said what? He did what? Wait, why is he hanging out with these people? Wait, what's going on? And then I started really starting to pay attention over the last like 2 years. And it's been a year now.
Before we go to
Yeah,
what you're
go
about to
ahead.
say, I want to get the timeline right. So I met you in September 2018.
August of 2018.
August 2018, yeah.
Yes.
We didn't start recording until September.
Correct.
So that's, 2 years, 4 months, 5 months ago.
Sure.
When I first met you, you didn't say you don't
No, we
meet
didn't talk
someone
about
and
it.
go like, I'm this, I'm that, I believe.
Right.
But you just pick up on social
Right.
cues when you just meet
Sure.
people.
Sure.
But the thing is that didn't matter because what we aligned with was the thing that humanized us.
Right.
The things that bring people together: food, culture, music, art, conversationalists. We could talk forever about anything, relating to stuff, agreeing upon things. And then you bring in your foundation of growing up. You say you're more of a conservative mindset.
Sure.
But politically, you kind of just go with a person who truly you feel like will do something better for the country.
Well, yeah, and I 100% believe in that now.
Yeah. So
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm 100% like getting behind a person, not a thing.
Yeah.
Because what have we learned? Getting behind that is just not a good idea.
It doesn't always mean what you think it might.
No, not at all.
And that's the problem is you say conservative, people automatically go like,
Far
right conservative. He has a AR-15 and like on him.
I
right
don't own
now.
a gun.
No, I don't either.
I don't own a gun.
That's the thing though. You don't own a gun. You love artisan things. You love weird stuff. You love experimental movies, things that have swearing and violence and nudity, things that go against conservative mindsets and values.
Well, I'm pro pot. obviously.
Very pro pot.
Hardcore pro pot.
But the thing is, so what does that mean when you have all these things going against what people would say is like, no, this is a
But see, that's the
conservative
thing
mindset?
is that those are not things that I spent time thinking about because I'm more focused on I need to get this song done because I got a gig, in 2 weeks and I want to debut this new song. Like those are my primary focuses.
Yeah.
But once again, over pretty much, the first time they tried to impeach him, it was like, man, this guy, what is this dude up to? Like, what is he doing? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work. And then 3-4 weeks later, COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget March 15th. It was a Sunday. They declared everything a national state of emergency. I'll never forget that day as long as I live for like 4 different reasons, but one of them was because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching him on television that afternoon going, what do you mean this is going to be gone by Easter? I just listened to some scientist that was like, this might be it for humanity. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So why are you saying this, come Easter, everything's going to be fine. We're all going to get together for Easter. It's going to be great. It's going to be grand. And I'm like, no, like nobody can buy toilet paper right now. You know what I mean? Why don't you act like the president instead of a douchebag? And then that's kind of where it was like, I really need to start paying attention to politics, past foreign trade policy, and, do we want to spend a lot of money or do we want to lower taxes or why do we need to raise taxes or fix the fucking roads, right? Boring stuff. And then I started paying attention and I started watching this guy and I'm like, you're an idiot. He's an idiot. He's just a fucking idiot. He's the smartest guy in the room for certain reasons. Like, he knows how to play the game, kind of.
He doesn't, though. He's been sniffed out.
He has now.
He's
but
been a farce.
prior to that, he knew how to play the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, he'd been bankrupt before, filed, right, with back, with some of his businesses and shit. But he knows how to play the game. Start watching this guy, and then next thing I know, let's flash forward a few months. I'll never forget as long as I live. I'm watching live on television. Everybody's in Washington for protesting what happened with George Floyd. And this motherfucker has this crowd tear gas so he can take a picture in front of a church that he doesn't go to, holding a Bible that he's never read for a fucking photo op. Mm-hmm. And then that, like, after that day, once again, because of, like, some of my friends, their parents, right? Family members of mine, I noticed people stopped liking my Facebook posts. I noticed, right, a transition. To this day, and I won't throw anybody under the bus, I still get DMs on Facebook from people that I know that are older than me, some that are around my age as well, sending me links to videos, and I know they just send them to everybody, but I get them all the time. Oh, we're about to uncover this, and this is going to be great for Trump, or this is going to, you need to read this because this is the real news. And it's like, it's become so bad. And once again, I know that they're just sending these out to every single person they're friends with on Facebook. But it's like, you really start to see how brainwashed people are and how most people just cannot think for themselves at all. At all.
Would you say that, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Would you say Trump fed on that and he played on it?
Well, exactly. I told my sister the other day, I said, you got to understand something. He's kind of laying low right now. Well, now the second impeachment trial's over. I don't know when this show's going to air, but the second impeachment trial's over with. It ended a couple of days ago. Once again, he got out of it. He's laying low right now. But I told my sister this the other day. I'm like, this dude is ready to launch satellites into outer space to start his own phone company because Apple and Android will not let him have apps. They will not let him on, have communication on their phones. He'll start his own goddamn phone company. You watch. Mm-hmm. And there'll be millions of idiots that buy these Trump phones so that he can just spread propaganda. Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds crazy, but the sad part is I could see it happening.
It doesn't sound crazy because minus the phone thing.
But you get
He
what I
already
mean
did
with the
that.
phone?
He already did that.
But see, now that they've banned him from everything, right?
yeah.
And they've come out and they're like, we're not going to let him have this, or we're not going to let him, back on here. He'll just start his own thing, And I mean, there's 73 million people that voted for him. Now you got to understand. I would say, because I know some of these people, I would say probably at least half of them are going to vote for a Republican, no matter
Yeah.
who it is.
That's a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say comfortably, I would say at least half. Right. But then you got to go. There's at least 2 or 3 million people. Like you saw what happened on January 6th.
I sure did.
There's at least 2 or 3 million people that are exactly that.
Yeah.
100%.
And even
and
if
those
you
are
go
the ones
down-
that are dangerous. And I know some of them. Like
you go
they're-
further too, though, like to 1% of that.
Right.
If you go to just 20,000 people that are ultra serious about it.
Right.
Like
That's how you start a war.
Yeah, that's how you start a lot of problems. It's what happened on January 6th.
Right.
There was a lot of people there. Was everyone who was there wanting to go storm the Capitol and break inside? No.
No.
That's not how it works. Can't lie about it. Was there a lot of people who did and tried and people who died and got hurt? Yes. Way more than ever should have ever happened.
And I think, once again, he knows what he's capable of. And that's why he's so dangerous. Because he knows what he can do. Tweeting out January 6th, see in D.C. And most of us read that going, he's just being weird. But some people read that and was like, oh, he's telling us we need to go follow him. They follow him like they follow Jesus. And it's like, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ, no matter where you stand with religion, if you believe he actually existed on this planet, did not stand for any of that shit.
No, he doesn't. That's not what's said in the Bible
They
at
killed
all.
him. They killed him because he was so radical in a like far left way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, all he did was speak about being of the people.
Love and
sharing.
and take care of your
caring,
neighbor. and
apologizing to people, forgiveness. The
Right.
biggest one of all.
Mary Magdalene, right? They were literally going to stone her to death because, that's what they did back then. She was a, whatever the correct term is, prostitute or whatever. I don't know. You would specifically say that's PC, but, and he saved her, and it's like, could you imagine a bunch of Trumpers, getting ready to, throw rocks at some far left liberal, and then Jesus, who is their savior, coming walking in, going, whoa, 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 whoa. You got this all wrong. She's a person. Let's be nice. Let's respect, peace, and love. So I say all that to say this. All these far right evangelical Christians that are following Donald Trump like he's Jesus Christ doesn't make any sense to me because they couldn't be any further from each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Trump has gone, and I say all that because Trump has gone out of his way to tie the religious aspect to his party. And the sad part is like, it's not specifically the Republican Party, it's the Trump Party. Does that make sense? And it sucks. And he's not, I got tired. I said this 5 years ago to people. He's not a Christian.
No.
Why are you believing? Oh no. Oh, well, he is now. And it's like, you're an idiot. You're brainwashed.
Religion can do that to you.
You're brainwashed. But I knew that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm going, oh, he's just playing a chess game.
Well, you know this. You grew up somewhat religious, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah. I was raised Catholic, and then I just kind of got away from all of it for the longest time. Full disclosure, over this past year, I still believe in God and everything, but my faith has decreased quite a bit. My faith in humanity has decreased quite a bit because for as much good as we've seen in the world this past year, the way people have really kind of come together with stuff, the ugliness has come out. Everything's come out of the woodwork, and we've seen how selfish people really are, especially in this country. Globally, I think it would be a different conversation. But in the United States, woof. I mean, like I said, we're 2 months into the pandemic, and I went to the Menards, which we know Menards. And there was this guy, they must have hired him to work security to make sure people are wearing their masks, right? So I come walking up, and I was working on a yard project, so I was kind of there like every other day in the mornings, like picking stuff up, like rocks and dirt and stuff. And, every day I would walk in, I'd watch somebody, hey, man, you need to wear your mask. Oh, I don't need a mask. And I'd walk by him, and I'd go in the store, right? And then, like, the third time, nobody was around, and I walked up to him. I'm like, hey, how's it going? And he goes, oh, I'm good. How are you? Because, like, nobody probably ever asks him how he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got a question for you. How often do you got to deal with somebody that doesn't want to wear a mask coming into this store? And he started laughing. He goes, every 10 minutes. I'm like, what? He goes, he's a retired sheriff from the county, older guy. And he goes, I work for the security firm or whatever, and they hire me part-time to come out here and make sure everybody's wearing their mask going inside, blah, 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 blah. Just kind of watch everything. I said, that's cool. And he go, but every 10 minutes, there'll be somebody walking into the store, and he's like, sir, you need to, oh, don't tell me what to do, And it's just like, put the fucking mask on. Like, why is this an issue?
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, you just start to lose your faith in humanity because you're going, what is wrong with all of these people? There are still people I know that think this whole thing's a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
It was, all was the Chinese virus or whatever. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
How many millions of people I don't care where it came from. We need to focus on handling it and moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not focus on the past.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people want to do. Well, they want to blame things. They play the blame game. That's what Trump did. He still does it. You look like you've got so many questions. I can ramble. I'm a rambler.
I'm listening to you. I'm taking it in. I want to go back to, because I agree with everything you're saying. And
sure.
And
I think most people that would watch this would. Yeah.
It's definitely been a serious problem. I don't. It's really hard to say what the issue is, like why certain people don't believe it. People think the world's flat. People think we've never been to space. People think 5G gives you cancer. These things are not, there's no proof of that, first of all.
Scientology.
Scientology is a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's people falling into wanting to accept tribalism, wanting to be accepted, falling into categories that can best suit their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Being thrown into the abyss and not having answers is a very floundering place to be as a person. So you need attachments. I love the abyss. That's why I go out in blizzards and walk. It helps me to understand things, to find different ways of looking at things, being alone, taking in information, reflecting, seeing the world from a different lens other than just the lens, which is this.
Sure.
And getting away from the TV shows and getting away from all that and the social media and just talking to people, doing what we're doing now, or through a phone call, through a text message. Social media lies, and it's not necessarily it's a filter.
Especially Facebook.
Well, I mean, like what people are putting on, they're finessing their reality.
Right. But due to like the algorithms and the way it all works and stuff,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Facebook has really become kind of a dangerous place. I mean, Twitter, I mean, Instagram's its own thing. It's really not dangerous per se. Twitter can be very toxic and dangerous for multiple reasons, right? But Facebook, from what I've learned, especially for, I call them the Trumpers, it's a little bit more of an older crowd to begin with now,
mm-hmm.
right? Where Twitter is more for people like us. I find it very interesting how easily propaganda is spread on that platform.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't ever really use it. I'll post on my
Sure.
own personal, like once a balloon. I don't look at anything, nothing at all.
But for me, after what happened with George Floyd, I'm going, listen, I didn't really post much about that kind of stuff before because, it's not good for business. Because people from both sides of the aisle, everybody that have different beliefs are going to listen to your music. And
so what you're saying, to clarify, you just don't post anything political on your
not
musical?
much. No, because once again,
No matter what it is.
no,
Yeah.
because it's not good for business. And unfortunately, once again, if you're Jason Momoa, you can say whatever you want. You know, he's famous. He's got a lot of money. He's got a large platform and a lot of people that will listen to him. So he, you know, and I'm just using him as an example,
Sure.
but he's somebody that could post. He's a great Instagram follow, by the way. He's somebody that could, or whomever's famous, right? Big celebrity. They can kind of get away with posting about political stuff because, and it's usually going to be, you know, left side, but they can get away with it a little bit better because they're already at a certain level. But when you're trying to make it, and you're trying to hustle, and you only got a couple hundred followers or whatever it is, it's like, that's the last thing you want to do because it's going to turn part of your audience away, no matter what. Because I don't know what these people believe in that are listening to my music or whatever, right? Or my podcasts or our show or whatever it is. But after what happened with George, I'm going, fuck this. Every single person in this country has got to... I want to know where everybody stands. And it's almost like everybody needs to raise their hand and go, are you going to be on the right side of this or are you going to be on the idiot side? Because that's it. And I hate to be blunt, but it is what it is. And part of the reason I've lost some of my faith in humanity is I've seen how many people want to live in the past. And, you know, they want things to stay exactly the way they are. They don't want anything to change. They don't want progress. They don't want to fix anything because it doesn't affect their life, you know, to them. It doesn't matter.
Because they're white.
Because they're white.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we have an opportunity here as white people, me and you, white people, right? To help in any way we can and get, you know, we need to move forward with things, you know, and you start reading about what's going, you know, there's fucking kids in cages. Like, I know that's very blunt, but it is what it is, you know, and hopefully Biden's going to resolve some of this stuff.
You know what else there is besides kids in cages? Adults in cages.
Exactly.
Prison system.
Don't
which is
even
very
don't
racist.
even get me started on that shit.
Yeah.
But I think what happened over the summer, and you know, how you know the world, whether you want to say it was God or the world or however you want to phrase it, everything timed itself the way it did. So everybody's home. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody's eyes are on their phones and on the television anyways. And it really, I think it helped the movement. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, all right, well, unfortunately, they always say you can't talk about sex, politics, and religion. Fuck that shit. That's all we're going to talk about from now on, especially politics. And I don't care how many friends I lose. I don't care how many numbers I got to block on my phone. I don't care how many, you know, people stop following me on social media. This is it.
Let me ask you a question.
This is it. Like we are of the age where it's up to us. Because we will, you know, not me and you specifically, but people our age in 10, 15 years will be the ones in Congress, in the Senate, in the House. And if we start today or, you know, 6, 7 months ago, started then maybe in 10 years we can actually have real progress and real change, you know, because it's all about the long game. It's not short-term fixes. And that was another thing that I learned. You got to stop putting Band-Aids on, you know, big holes. And that's just the way I look at it. Sorry, you had a question.
No, when did this pre-George Floyd, pre-end of May, what was it, May 26th, 25th?
Yeah, it was
something like
Memorial Day.
Right.
I'll never forget, I was at my buddy Ski's house. We were building a fence around his pool. And I got home and I saw the news. And was like, holy fuck. And like, that was it.
So before that, were you posting or promoting or talking about anything
No.
political? Nothing really.
No.
And then after that, you started to?
I mean, fun, like, you know, once in a while you'd share like a funny meme or something. But
Sure.
like, not,
Seriously.
no.
So you started being more serious about it.
Yeah.
And what did you see change in the people in your life from family, friends, fans of your music, podcast, or work, or just you and anybody in your
It's
circle?
really just, I mean, to be quite honest with you, you know, I don't know about fans, but all of my close friends, we're close friends for multiple reasons. So we might not agree on things or like, you know, it finally, you know, for example, one of my best friends on the planet, never into politics in his life, never voted. He's never voted. You know, he's my age. Made a comment years ago and said, I don't vote because I feel like I would need to research the candidates and could be a local election, and said, "Oh, I don't have the time for that stuff, so I don't vote," because he doesn't want to just blindly vote. It's October, and I saw him, and we're talking, blah, 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 and he's, and I'm going, you've never been political in your life. Why do you have these thoughts and opinions now? But once again, he listens to what he listens to, right? And it has swayed him, a certain way. So it's not really affected like my close friends because we still respect one another no matter where we sit with. So, and they're social issues. It's got nothing to do with fucking, anything else. But, and they're not, my friends are all good people, and I will say that. But, kind of that outer circle, family, relatives, acquaintances, friends of friends, right? You start seeing, and it's like, okay, they're not liking your posts anymore. There's probably a reason for that. Oh, you haven't heard from this person in like 4 months.
Did you see like a percentage drop?
I've noticed it,
Yeah.
but you're also at the same time. There's really not. You don't have to spend any time doing it because you just look at what they're posting, and you're going, oh, it's the opposite of
contrasting.
Yeah. Well, no wonder. So for me, it's not like I spent 5 hours going, well, who sees things this way and who sees things that way, because you just go to your feed and
Did you notice people like unfollow you and stuff?
No, I definitely lost. I think I lost like maybe 10 or 12 friends on Facebook, and I'm sure you can hide. You can still be friends with somebody, but you can hide their feed.
Yeah.
I've probably hidden like 40 or 50 people's feeds.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, it's just it's one of those things.
Yeah. So you started changing a lot about the way you would speak out about it. What about the way you would internalize it, the way you manifested that thing into your mind? And
you really learn how lucky you are. I'm a huge Springsteen fan. I know you know that, but for those of you that are watching this that don't know me, he's God with a lowercase g for me, right?
Yeah.
In terms of how to be a successful artist but still let the art be at the forefront. Does that make sense?
sure.
And he's also business-wise, right? And then as an entertainer. They're all three separate things, branding, etc. That's why I like him so much. But, a lot of his music's about, you don't have to be what you're born into, right? That's Born to Run. That's all, pretty much Badlands. That's all of his songs is, just because you're born into this situation, you can get out of it. That's Thunder Road, trying to break away from what you were born into. So I've always understood that perspective. But for the first time, I've really understood how lucky, fortunate, and we just don't understand because we were born white males. Mm-hmm. That's all there needs to be said about it. Mm-hmm. I don't my ears are open and my eyes are open and I'm willing to listen because I want to learn, because I only understand what it's like to be a white dude. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
And white dudes, especially white male Christian landowners, have always had the upper hand in this country.
Who are 6 feet tall.
Those were the only people that could vote. You had to own land, you had to be white, and you had to be a, dude.
But you're also bigger. Like I don't mean in weight. I mean like you're tall. Like
I'm 6'1", yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So like that's another thing. Like you got height, size, skin tone, your sex, your ideologies. You got like you live in a home. Like
I'm well spoken.
Yeah.
I can
all
hold
these
a
things
conversation. I went to a decent school.
All these things add up.
Right.
They add up.
Came from a nice middle class family. Mm-hmm. Like we never struggled. As far as I know, my parents never struggled to pay the bills.
They were working. They worked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's a hard thing to understand, but at different points in your life, my parents did a great job of, the one thing they did best was making that apparent. They, when we went to church, they always donated, 10%. They tithed.
My mom was the same way. She
Right.
always gave to the church.
And they didn't even have that much money, a working class, and they still did it anyway. Always explain how people will come from way less than you, people will come from way more than you.
Right.
And to always work with people who have less than you. You don't need to worry about people who have more than you. To help each other, to donate your time. We were always doing community stuff, serving food to homeless people. on holidays in the morning instead of opening up
See,
Christmas presents.
you're a better person than I am.
Well, I didn't want to do it when I was little. You don't understand the concept when you're 9. You're like, I want to open my Christmas
When
present.
I was 9, I was waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Christmas going, I wonder if I got the James Bond movies on VHS
Right.
because that's what I wanted.
Right.
You know, but
And when you
once
see
again,
people don't get anything because they don't even have a
I know.
home. They
I
don't even
know.
have a Christmas tree. And you see that on Thanksgiving and Christmas when you go to Lake Street and St. Louis, which is not a good place to grow up or live, especially this is the late 90s, 2000s. And you just get a perspective of that, just one little glimpse for 5, 6 hours of your life.
right.
And it was things like that I've always been very aware of. I learned a lot about different people from different backgrounds through school and work, and just learning like, oh, when you're white, X, Y, and Z opens up, and when you're not, a lot of that stuff the doors don't even exist. They're not even allowed to you. You don't see that as a white man because you don't ever experience it. I'm never afraid when I walk down the street anywhere. I'm not afraid because I'm a white man. I go in the forest, walk by myself. I'm not worried about someone trying to hurt me or sexually assault me. I'm not. I don't even think about it.
But see, what's cool is that, through all this past year, finally like learning about things and opening your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, there's been people in my life that have shown, it's like, oh, okay, what, right? Where I'm going with all this is to be an ally and be there and stand up for all the people that need, support and standing up for. Not that they can't do it on their own, but we all need to help, right? Because it's going to take, they say it takes a village. It's going to take this whole country to change things. And it's not just race stuff. It's not just, women. I mean, how is it 2021 and we're just getting real equality with,
Still trying.
still trying.
Yeah.
We're not there. We're not there at all. So
It's hard though because there are a lot of women who aren't following that narrative, and you learn that through talking to them.
I couldn't tell you how many people I know, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, try and speak best terms I can, that still live in that. Well, I just want to be a housewife, or I just oh, I'm marrying so and so. They got a good job. I'm just gonna stay, and that's fine if that's their prerogative. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's not a political thing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But the women out there that are working their asses off to be entrepreneurs or be actresses or be, scientists or to be school teachers or, firemen or whatever the fuck it is. We gotta keep the progress going because it's not there yet. It's not there. And unfortunately, until it's not a conversation anymore, because once it's not a conversation anymore, then I'll know we're there.
When you were
Does that make sense?
sure, did you know anybody who didn't want someone like Hillary Clinton because she was a woman, not because of anything else?
I don't know if they were making jokes or they were being serious, but I mean, in the old world, how many people you'd see on a weekly basis, right? A lot of people. I mean, in a given week, running around hustling, I'd see easily 100 people a week. So yeah, I mean, I'd heard jokes or whatever, but do I truly think that there are a lot of people that voted for Trump because they didn't want a woman in office? 100%.
I know. I've heard people say it.
Right.
and
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I don't know if they were being serious or
They were
not.
being serious.
Sure.
You could tell.
Right.
And people try to hide it behind a joke when they're saying it as a joke because they know it's controversial to be forward about it, so they kind of joke, but they never recant.
Or they're just choosing to be ignorant.
Sure, it's a big problem.
Or maybe ignorance the wrong word because they're not ignorant. They're well aware. They're just choosing to be. I don't know what the word would be. What would the word be?
If you're choosing to say you don't think a woman should be president, but you believe that they shouldn't be one, is that what you're saying?
This is just straight sexism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying from a woman. No, I'm talking about women saying it.
Women
Sorry, I
saying
should have
it.
clarified.
No, because all the comments I knew were from men.
Oh, I know. I've heard women say it.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not many. I've heard it. And yeah, it's you're like, oh, that's the problem. Like, women need to be on the same page too. They need to know, like, yeah, you're also capable of anything
Yes.
you put your mind to.
Yes.
You're going to have certain biases and certain natural tendencies based on your culture, your upbringing, your religion, and your biology. Those things
Right.
are all factors.
That's
They just
fucking
are.
crazy, though.
Oh yeah, there's men. I'm sure there's so many women that are like, yeah, they should. Women aren't. It's better for a man. It's a man's job. I hear it all the time. It's a man's job. You keep speaking that narrative. It'll be that way.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It is
makes me
ridiculous.
so angry.
It makes me
It makes
very
me
angry.
so fucking angry.
I know. It makes me angry when anybody wants to just fit gender roles. You're like, I can cook, I can clean, I can do the laundry. You can shovel the driveway, you can mow the grass. We have automated pushers. It's not that hard. Don't think you're not physically capable of doing these things. You are.
Right.
It's because you haven't done it your whole life. You might need a little bit more insight and help at first, just like anybody would who hasn't done it ever.
Right.
When you choose to just follow female roles, whatever that even means, and not do something else, yeah, it's going to be hard at first. Just like it's going to be hard if, as a man, if you never cooked your whole life, and all of a sudden someone's like, hey, start cooking dinner for everyone, you'd be like blown away. You'd be so scared. You'd be like, I'm confused. I don't know. Where do I begin? What ingredients do I use for what?
It really is. It's a location. So where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a metropolitan area? Is it a true suburb? Is it a small town? Is it a farm town?
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's
Yeah.
so many different levels. So the society that you grow up in that location, or where you live currently, it might not just be growing up. Religion, and politics,
Ethnicity.
right? It all adds up.
Yeah.
So it's not usually just one or two things. It's usually far more than that add up to why they feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope, because, for example, you'd mentioned it earlier. When we first met, we were talking about music and records and movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then we started learning about each other, and it's like, oh, we might not see eye to eye on certain things, but we're still friends, right?
Yeah.
So my hope is that, for somebody like myself and all the other thousands and millions of people that are going, enough's enough. A woman's her body, her fucking choice. It was never something I got involved in before. Because in my mind, it's like, all right, well, Christianity believes this way, but I've always said it's not up to me. I'm a dude, and unless I'm in that situation personally, right, with somebody, it's not up to me, right? But then you get to a point where you got to go, not only do I just have to think it, I need to vocally be posting about this and saying about this, because there are so many people out there that don't think that way and maybe need some light shed on them. So once again, not just me, there's thousands, if not millions of people that over the last year have gone, enough's enough. Her body, her choice, Black Lives Matter, right? We need to get away from fucking depending on oil in this country. We need to start focused towards,
Renewable energy.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's no joke. It's like the first 6 weeks of the pandemic because nobody went anywhere. I don't know if you saw that meme with the universal symbol, Universal Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they got the globe, right, where it comes out. There was a meme where it was a picture of somebody's yard and they photoshopped, like, it was obviously transparent. So it was like you looking at it the other way, but it was like, oh, the pollution's gone down so drastically we can see the universal symbol. You following what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, but it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's true.
The brake dust in the
It's true.
air near highway systems like 294, 4 or 5 lanes on each side, hundreds of thousands of cars passing every day. All that brake dust in the air was more clear, better quality air for people around. That adds up. You start to realize how much pollution there is from
My allergies
everything.
have cleared up 80%.
Really?
Have you heard me hack?
No. That's true. You are a hacker.
I used to be,
Yeah.
because it's just all the shit in the air,
Wow. That's wild.
the mold and the dust. But living in a bunker with an air purifier,
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. So back to the summer.
okay,
You're noticing the internet, you're posting stuff that's more against the grain of what
It was the biggest like looking back, you know, you got all those moments in your life that you're like, that was a turning point. That was you know, when I first heard the Beatles, it was like, life's never going to be the same.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
This was one of those.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
But you noticed a difference in your family. Did family members talk to you about anything? Anybody reach out?
So like my immediate family, so it's, you know, I mean, my dad's in the picture, but like, he doesn't really get involved in that kind of stuff. And I don't see him that often. Right. But like my mom calls me still every day, you know, Robert, how are you? I'm good. Tammy, how are you? You know, my 3 sisters, and, no, we didn't really get involved with it. My youngest sister went to I gave her a hard time. I said, that's not a protest, because there weren't like any signs, or it was a very like small, you know, kind of assembly, you know. But she went to one, you know, and it for, you know, with everything that happened, right? And you know, it just, we talk about stuff, but there wasn't any division with any of that.
What about extended family, like cousins and aunts?
Yeah, well, yeah, once again, because it's tied to religion most of the time, unfortunately.
It
and
just
it's a
uses the culprit.
locational thing, and it's an age, you know, it's also an age thing. You know, it's like, if you're in your 50s or 60s, you know, and a relative or a friend's parent or whatever it is, it's like, you know, I think anybody that's over 50, I cut a little more slack to, because they are so set in their ways, you know, and you know that, you know, as you age, it's just harder to change your mind on things. And
It takes more time with them.
a lot more time.
You still could try.
You could try.
It takes time. You said that so like no confidence. Like, yeah, I've tried. No, you have to try. You have to try. If it's your parents, your uncle, the people you care about, and you know
Right.
that they're just stuck in a different way of
But
thinking.
it's not, so it's interesting, because so where I'm going with all of this is, and I think you know this as well, or maybe you don't, because maybe you are a little more in a bubble with people that are similar to you, I guess. You know, I started going further left, and then people I knew that were also kind of like somewhere in here started going further right. You know, I mean, it's like everybody we all parted. And that's why we're so divided in this country. 73 million people voted for Donald Trump after everything.
Yeah.
After everything that happened.
Yeah.
Still voted for him.
Yeah.
So, you know, I might have gone this way, but there's also people that went this way. And that's, you know, it's whatever. It's their prerogative. I'm not going to hold it against them. But it really shows how much work needs to be done here.
The most important thing it shows is if you came in 2 years and 5 months ago,
Sure.
and I didn't take me long to know your background, beliefs.
Well, because I'm an open book.
What I'm saying is, if I was like a lot of people who are very liberal,
Sure.
I would have been like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person or work
Right.
with this person or start a podcast with this person.
This guy believes in God?
Do you know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I know.
I'm serious. Like,
I know.
it's people do that too much. In
Right.
fact, that's all you ever see. Screw this person. This person they believe this. When does that work? Why would that work? Why would I say, Rob, I don't like you because of this? Why would you go, man, you're such a nice person. I actually want to believe what you believe. Why?
Well, it's like I just told you, I know a lot of people that voted for Trump. They're good people. They're not bad people. Like, they're people that would give their shirt off their back. It's just, that's where they sit with politics. You know what I mean? So, but I've always understood that. And I know you understand that. But you're correct. There's a lot of people
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people will just cut somebody off because they go one way. If you cared that much about your cause or your political party or your belief or your religion, why would you not just be open to that person and talk with them and hear their side, learn something?
Right.
What you can only learn so much from a book or from a YouTube video or from a movie or from a song. But talking to someone who has opposite beliefs of you, you can learn a lot from.
You can learn a ton.
Yes, a ton.
A ton.
And take time with them. I had no prerogative to change your mind about anything. I just liked talking to you. And
And we always kept it civil.
we kept it civil
You
because
know.
that's what you're supposed to. And
Well, yeah.
on your own, you completely changed 180 degrees in a different direction than where you were when I first met you.
Well, once again, this is where, and I know this isn't your full-time job, right? But, it's something you really enjoy. You're focused, right? You're focused. You're not looking over here. COVID happened, and it's like widescreen. Now, not only do we have the time, but we were kind of forced a little bit to start looking at the news because of COVID. So you're looking at stories and things. Breonna Taylor, right? Brett Hankinson, Miles Cosgrove, and Jonathan Manley arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor for killing Breonna Taylor, not the fucking bullets that missed her. I'm saying it right here. Seriously.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's ridiculous. But to be honest with you, and this might sound bad, but that story to me, I would have just scrolled past on Twitter because I'm looking to see, the Birds of Prey review, or whatever movies were supposed to come out in the spring, right? Because I'm focused here. But widescreen opens the shot. Now you can kind of see everything. You see everybody. You see everything. Everybody comes out of the woodwork. All the Karens of the world, the anti-maskers, the pro-Trumpers, the people that are, hardcore liberals, everybody in between, right? The far left, the far right, Antifa. Jeez, fucking, if I got to hear about fucking Antifa anymore, it drives me nuts. I think we should all be anti-fascist, right? I mean, isn't that right? Why would, why would you be pro that?
No, I don't.
So right? Doesn't make any sense to me. You see everything and you go, wow.
That was a nice wow. By the way.
Even the Allstate commercials are just propaganda because that's not the real world that we live in. Nothing is sunshine and rainbows. And America has really doubled down on the whole, hey, we're America. We're the best country in the world. And it's like, nope, we're a bunch of idiots that pretend we are the best country in the world because ignorance is bliss. And there are millions of ignorant people that live in this country on both sides too, because there are definitely people far left that are living in a fantasy world. And it's like, listen, I want all those things too, but we got to backtrack. So, for example, yesterday, Joe Biden came out with this. And like I said, I don't know when this show's going to air, but Joe Biden came out yesterday. I covered it on my show yesterday. Wants sweeping gun reform. So, banning these assault weapons and the high powerful magazines, blah, 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 better federal background checks, et cetera, et cetera. And what I said on my show was simply this. I don't own a gun, but I know a lot of people that do. Some of my best friends own guns, and they're into hunting. They're not,
Sure.
They're not dangerous by any means.
No, most
right?
hunters are quite serious and safe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said.
it's a whole culture, sure.
I trust them 100%. So, not to use them for example, but kind of gun people in general, they love their Second Amendment. And they don't want something like that being taken away from them because the first thing will come out of their mouth is the liberals are trying to take our guns away. And it's like, no. Nobody's trying to take your guns away. They're just trying to prevent all of these mass shootings from happening. Like, I'm going to say something very off color right now. You know what's not happened in the last year? Mass shootings. Because everybody's been at home. The last 5 years leading up to COVID, it was every month. You turn the news on. 15 people shot. Vegas was 53. Parkland, the 3-year anniversary was yesterday. And it's like, man, everybody's been at home for a year. We haven't had any mass shootings. You know what I'm saying? It's like, at least to that scale. It's like, yeah, no, this is an issue. But what I was saying on my show was, the whole reason I brought it up was I'm going, all right, Biden, that's all well and fine, but we need to pick one thing that you can get everybody behind. So expanding federal background checks, right? That's something you can probably, if you just stick to that one little issue. How do you eat an elephant? one bite at a time. If you stick to that one little issue, you can probably get some Republicans on board. Maybe you can pass it then.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's one step forward. But trying to do too much at once, that's when you just piss off the other side and you're never going to get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's kind of how I looked at kind of what definitely happened with Trump, definitely happened with Obama, definitely happened with Bush, is that, they're going to push their agenda. So already everybody that opposes them for political reasons, within the Senate or the House or Congress or whatever have you, even, locally, because they're on the other party, they're going to oppose you. And then you're not going to get done the good things that you could get done, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. So I look at the gun issue going, all right, if we can get this, then that's one step forward. Mm-hmm. But trying to pass a bunch of stuff at once, what's going to happen? The gun people, which are usually more conservative folks, are going to go, the liberals are trying to take our guns away. The liberals are trying to take our guns. And it's like, you're not listening. Like, this is why they're trying to do what they want to do. But as soon as people get emotionally upset like that, they stop listening. So if Biden came out tomorrow and said, we're just going to focus on this, I think everybody can get behind that. Nobody's trying to take your guns away, but we need to expand, people that are mentally unstable, right? People that have gone through this or gone through that. All the mass shootings that have happened in the last 5-6 years, specifically, who were they by? Were they by were they by Muslim people? No. Were they by, Jewish women? No. Were they by illegal immigrants? No. They were fucking white dudes that have lived in this country their whole fucking life.
Born here, yeah.
So
mental illness issue, that's a whole nother thing.
But that's what and that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's the only thing. I mean, if you're going into an establishment of any kind and shooting people, you have the most severe mental illnesses.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about with these federal background checks. If you're somebody who's been, inpatient for mental health issues in the last year, maybe they need to build a big storage unit and, turn your guns in for a little bit until you're rehabilitated. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I know, once again, that's a kind of a
the conversation needs to happen around it so people it could be more normalized.
Right.
Talking about mental health
it's
is
still
very
a stigma.
divisive.
It's still a huge stigma.
Yeah.
5 years ago, me talking about depression, you don't want to talk about that shit. Finally, now though, it's like I'm a little more open about it because we're 20% there. We still got a long ways to go, but we're 20% there. And that's just been over the last 5-7 years, I think.
It's gotten a lot better, but it's not. It's a whole nother thing that needs to be addressed. The pharmaceutical industry needs to be addressed. Marijuana needs to be addressed.
I'm gonna scream, fuck big pharma. Fuck them in the asshole. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. Pfizer's on track to make $15 billion in revenue this year from a fucking vaccine. Bullshit. Donate that money to save the people that don't have jobs right now. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Okay, sorry. That was my rant for
today. That's okay. This did nothing, but I really liked it.
did I probably went into the red.
What you were supposed to do is like actually, you didn't block it. You literally just, you honed. All you did was actually make it worse because you make your hand be a reflective device.
So we're like an hour. We're like an hour and a half into this. You might have to bring the volume levels down for that point.
No, but you're not even close to clipping.
You've seen Thank You for Smoking, right? Mm-hmm. The 2005 film directed by Jason Reitman.
Yeah.
It's always been one of my favorite movies. And when I was like 15, so I watched it when I was 15. It was on HBO, and I could watch R-rated movies at that point. And that it's so weird. Like the movies that like change your life. That was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it like 10 times, and I'm just like, wow, these lobbyists are fucking scumbags. Fuck these people.
Mm-hmm.
And the pharmaceutical industry. Once again, take this pill. It is going to fix this one thing, but it might give you 30 side effects. Now, once again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. People that are on certain medications need to be on them for reasons, right? But that being said, I can make a general statement. Fuck big pharma.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
I would. I wouldn't say it is aggravated as you, but I completely agree.
They're just they're money hungry.
It's
And
a sad
they're-
thing to prey on people's mental and physical and emotional health.
Oh, and they prey on them.
They prey.
They
And people,
prey.
people,
The healthcare system in general.
Well,
I mean,
an
can I
issue
say
is,
that
Rob,
again?
a lot of people-
Fuck the healthcare system in general.
an
What
issue
the fuck?
is too many people bite into it. That's what it is. It's people's faults too.
Right.
There's a huge percentage that need these things.
Did we ever talk about when I was on Adderall? Have me and you ever spoken about that?
Maybe.
So I'll make this really quick. So I'm ADD. I'm ADHD.
No? I don't know.
No. So that's always been me ever since I was a kid. And when I was like a freshman in high school, my grades started kind of reflecting that a little bit because, history, if it's something that I'm interested in, I'm like an encyclopedia on it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not interested in it, you couldn't pay me enough money to focus. So, and I don't blame anyone, but, it was suggested to me by, somebody in my family, you might go on, ADD meds, Adderall or whatever. They used to make, when I was a kid, they used to make, Rob needs his Ritalin, which I didn't take, it was a joke because I'm bouncing off the walls.
Mm-hmm.
But when I turned like 19, a close buddy of mine has been on Adderall for most of his life. And I took one of his pills to like focus on a paper I was writing. And was like, whoa, oh my gosh, this was great. It was a great experience, And so I started taking it. I was prescribed it, legally and everything. And I was on it for about 5.5 years. And 3 of those years I'll never get back.
How do you mean?
It helped at the beginning. And now, once again, hindsight really is 2020, which they got to change that because every time I hear 2020, I just want to vomit. I was on too much, I think. Like I was on 20 XRs. I probably should have been on like 10s because it really did help at the beginning. It was like, wow, like my apartment's clean. Like when I lived in Tennessee, it was like, I vacuumed every couple of days and like things that I normally wouldn't do, right? It helped. It definitely helped. But then after a while, you're completely addicted to it. And I'll never forget, because they're very, 30 pills for 30 days. You can't get it like 28 days in, right? It has to be on the refill date. And I was out for 1 day. I didn't have it. And it was like, whoa. Like you immediately, it's like you're high. You start immediately going through withdrawals when you're not on it for a day. And I'll never forget that day. And I was like, this is dangerous. This is very dangerous. And you're just totally, for me, I was totally addicted to it. I took one every day. I never abused it. I took the prescribed dosage. But you don't know it at the time, but you're spending an hour and a half getting ready when it should take 20 minutes.
For what? Just anything?
Whatever.
Every day?
Oh, are all my fingernails trimmed?
Is this every day?
Huh?
Every day?
Oh, no. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to confuse it with OCD because it was different. It's just you're very focused. So it's like you're driving in the car and you're going, I should have trimmed those nails. And you're just thinking about it because you're focused so hard, right? So long story short, I was getting ready to turn 26. So no more parents' health insurance, right?
Yeah.
So I was, but that wasn't the reason. It was really like, I don't want to be on this anymore. I miss old Rob, like ADD Rob. Now, could I sit down and focus on writing a song for 5 hours? Yeah. But if I wanted to, prior to that, I could focus and sit down for 5 hours on a song before. It was just, how do I phrase this? Being on Adderall made me more like normal, like what normal people, salt of the earth, however you want to phrase it. Whereas, because I'm an artist, ADHD, bouncing off the walls, kind of goofy, right? Maybe I'm not making myself totally clear, but I think you might get where I'm going. So I got to a point and I said, all right, I don't want to be on this anymore. So I had, one bottle left or what. I just got my prescription refilled and I go, this is it, but we're going to start lowering it. So I'd open the capsules and dump half of it back into the bottle. So I, slowly started to decrease the amount that I was taking. Should have consulted a doctor, but I didn't. So over the course of a month, I weaned myself off of it. And in my mind, I'm going lower, 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 and then just stop. And the withdrawals from it lasted legitimately 6 to 9 months. 6 months of I felt like I was not in control of myself. Not in a bad way, but like my depression got worse. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just the strangest feeling. It was like an outer body experience. And then I say 9 months because like after 6 months, like I can see I'm still in it, but I'm coming out of it. And it wasn't until afterwards that I started to do a little research and found out I'm just like everybody else that goes off that shit. It's not, and granted, you should, if you're on Adderall or ADD meds, consult your doctor. Don't do what I did. Wean off of it over 6 months. Don't wean off of it over a month, right? But I'll never forget that August, September, October, November, December, January, February. It was wild.
Wild how?
Because you're on the Adderall train for so long. It's like I mean, to speak frank, I've never done any. I've done hash a couple of times, but other than that, I've never done any. I've never even done mushrooms or acid. I've never done any other recreational drug other than pot, which isn't really a recreational drug anymore. So
it's a recreational
I would
drug.
compare it to people that are getting off of, a hard drug,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody that quits drinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would really equate it to anything like that. And it's, and you think about it all the time. Like, man, I just want that Adderall. I just want to, get back to the way it was, the way your brain's going. And one of my old therapists, she always said, your brain's like a NASCAR track and it's going around and around. And when you have ADD, it like misfires, right? So the medication will help keep you spinning around on the track correctly. So, like I said, I don't totally know how to describe it. Now that so much time has passed, it's, I don't live in those feelings as much as I did before, but it was an experience. And that was the worst my depression ever was. And I think that had to do with the withdrawals and, coming down from it. It's like coming down from a big high.
Did you have a depression before that?
Yeah, I mean, on and off my whole life. I've always had seasonal depression, always. This year and last year, I've really gotten better at a term called mindfulness, which is knowing and going, okay, but I'm not going to let it take over. Like, I know it's there. I know the monster's under the bed. And I know it's there, and I acknowledge that it's there. But me and the monster are going to work together because I'm tired of the monster winning. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So I've gotten better at it, and I think with age, you will. But that's the longest my depression ever lasted, for sure, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also the thing is the last 2 years I was on the Adderall, it really tremendously affected my life because you're just so focused, just so
Tremendously,
but not in the moment in a good way.
Okay, so not in a good way. Didn't
No.
tremendously affect your life.
What's that?
Not in a good way. You said tremendously affected your life. That
No,
could be
because
bad
you're
or
just
good.
so in the. I mean, like, I'd be working on a song, and it's like there's like 3 words in a line, and you're going, I don't know if I like those words. Now, somebody, normally would go, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to this. You'll figure out the words. Maybe the words are fine. Maybe you're overthinking it. Song's great. I'd sit there for 6 hours and write out 90 different ways how to phrase that on Adderall. And it's like, for what? Because at the end of the day, I'm probably going to keep the words the way they are. That's might not be the best example, but that's the best example off the cuff that I can think of to describe how. But once again, I don't want to confuse it with like OCD. Because because it's a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, we all have a little OCD in us. All of us do a little bit. And if you say you don't, you're lying.
Some people don't, and it's a problem actually. OCD, it's a bad way of putting it because
Do you know what I mean?
well, I think a good friend of mine has been very helpful with explaining terms of mental illnesses and kind of attributing them to real humanistic things and evolutionary based things such as
Sure.
anxiety, depression. Those are necessary things. It's when you have too much of that neurochemical coming in or not enough is when it becomes problematic and unbalanced. So like having anxiety is normal. You should be, as a human being, to survive.
Right.
Anxious about the lion coming into the cave to kill you.
Right.
Anxious about when you're going to eat next. Anxious about the kid coming out of the woman's womb. Is it going to survive? Like these things are necessary. It's when it gets off kiltered and off to the side that it becomes problematic. Same thing with depression. To worry, to be nervous about things. That's a good evolutionary survival method for people. So yeah, everyone is going to have it. And OCD, such as some type of, I mean, there's different levels of it, but if you're talking the traditional thought of like just organization, making sure that's facing me, this and that, this perfect, all that to a certain extent is helpful for being proficient.
Sure.
Achieving certain goals, maybe if you're running a business or you're a CEO or you're an engineer, those things kind of, I would say that people that go into those fields tend to have a little bit more of that mind of controlling an organization and math and understanding how to not multitask, but get a lot of the things done in a certain time frame.
So for example, freshman year of college, I'm not good at math. I'm just not good at math. And so I placed at a level where the class that I was taking didn't really count towards anything. But it was like you got to pass this class to get to the one that does count. And I failed it. Now, did I apply myself 100%? In my mind, I did. I probably didn't, but in my mind, I did. But then once I was on Adderall, I was getting B's on my tests because I was studying. Because it's like I said before, if I'm into it, I'm into it. But if I'm not into it, you couldn't pay me enough money to get into it. I mean, well, I guess you could. Rob is for sale. But that was the upside. So I think in retrospect, and once again, hindsight is however you want to put it, all right, so he's on 20 milligrams. I think by the time I got to my mid-20s, like 24, 25, because I started taking it when I was 20. I was 20 when I started taking it. Probably could have gone down to 10 and still ridden the road. You know what I mean? I probably could function being on like 5 still right now. I think that might actually help me in life. But I'll never touch it again, on a regular basis because my experience was just not, towards the end, it was bad.
It sounds bad.
But like I said, if you go on Google and you start reading stories, I'm one of thousands and thousands of people that...
Probably one of millions.
Yeah, sure. But that's Big Pharma. I mean, is that Big Pharma's fault? No. But do they prey on it? Do they push the doctors and give them incentives to write these prescriptions? Yeah. Yeah.
And these drugs, and
they
can
charge
be quite
a lot
dangerous.
of money.
Quite dangerous. A lot of different ones for a lot of different reasons. And I don't know. I don't know how I've seen them help people.
Sure.
I've seen them
But
destroy people.
exactly.
So I don't really know.
Exactly. And that's the
very
thing.
hard.
Once again, if you're on medication, Rob Fishbeck is not saying to stop. Continue to take your medication and consult your doctor if you want to stop. But, for me, that's my story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very helpful because those drugs are very common. Some people's first thing they do is like, something's wrong with me. I'm going to do drugs. That's not what I do at all. I'm like the opposite of that. I'm like, something's wrong with me. I'm going to go try to be mindful and think about it.
I fucked up my foot last week and I took aspirin 3 days in a row. I don't even like taking aspirin.
Yeah.
Like I take vitamins. I did fucking 1-a-day men's and B12s and D3s and biotin.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't even like taking, you know what I mean? Like that's just not me. I take medicine for my acid reflux, but that's it. But yeah, no, you're right. Something's wrong with you. I'm going to take a pill for it. And it's like, I know so many people that it's like they get a headache for 5 minutes and they go pop 2 Tylenol. And it's like, what?
It's a learned thing.
It's
taught through our society that medicine fixes everything.
What's that doing to your body?
Yeah.
So now when it comes to the vaccine, because we might as well segue right into that. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're talking about all the deep shit today, all the hot button issues over here on Bending Brains. I understand why a lot of people are trepidatious about it, especially with women that are afraid it might make them infertile. Now, granted, once again, I'm still going to listen to the scientists at the end of the day. I'm going to get the vaccine
Yeah.
when it's available and when it's fair for me to get it. And what I mean by fair is if somebody tells me every single person over the age of 50 has gotten the vaccine, okay, now it's our turn. All the frontline workers, right? All school teachers and everybody over 50.
And students.
And students. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm cool with being the last person.
You're going to be the last person.
No, you get what I'm saying? I'm
sure do,
cool
yeah.
with that.
Sure.
But I'm still going to get it. Now, do I think it was rushed? A little bit. And that's why I'm kind of glad that I'm not going to be getting it for a while because I'll be able to we'll have more data by then.
Rushed out of necessity, though.
Rushed out of necessity. But that doesn't mean it's not scary.
Mm-hmm. It's scary, but it's
a necessity. I'm still going to take it. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but it's
science
scary.
is a numbers game of testing hypotheses. When those things are tested and proven with empirical information, that's when we have science. Mm-hmm. And it's all around us. This phone works, this microphone works, that light works. This is blocking droplets. This was made in a kiln because it's ceramic. Like, you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So we do know that it works. So you just have to follow what science says, what the scientists say, the community of them, the doctors, the professors, everyone together, the information they're bringing together. It's for the better good of people. It's how the system works. Scientists, there's, the classic mad scientists. And there is the out to get their own, Nobel Peace Prize professors and doctors.
Right.
But for the most part, these people are highly educated, on average have a higher IQ because of where they've come from and what they do for a living. They know what they're saying and talking about, or at least collectively you can come up with the right information. You should believe and trust them because you've been doing it forever. So why are you not doing it with this?
Right.
You've been doing it with seatbelts in a car and airbags.
Right.
The heat and air in a house. We've been doing it forever.
And make sure you get your air ducts cleaned because you can probably find mold. And I'm telling you right now, we got our ducts cleaned last year. And that's also a noticeable difference with my allergies, So that's a little PSA there. And I agree with everything you're saying. But going back to the whole vaccine issue, wearing a seatbelt, you're not putting something in your body, right? So I know folks that will, I read a study the other day saying 1/3 of Americans will not take the vaccine.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
You're missing the point of that. You're in something that can kill you. So you have to wear the seatbelt.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
A car.
No, I understand.
People who are afraid to fly
I understand.
or get in a train.
I'm afraid to fly.
Okay, hold on. Let me tell you this.
All right.
People who are afraid to fly,
Okay.
to get in a train, to walk down the street, they will willingly get into a car that statistically has significantly more deaths, injuries, and bodily harm than anything ever. And yet they will say things about like a vaccine or not trusting this or that. It's like you're going to get into something that's going to hurt you anyways. You'd use the seatbelt to save you just in case you do crash. Statistically, you're going to. I've been in many accidents. I'm only 31. It's like you're going to be in accidents in life. If you get in a car, there's too many variables. Yet we still do it. Listen to the science. You're going to have repercussions to taking a vaccine that has only had 9 months to be made. There could be side effects. There are going to be side effects. A lot of vaccines have side effects.
Right.
But since we've had vaccines as kids, I don't know about you, but I've never had mumps, measles, polio, or tetanus.
Me neither.
Yeah, because we've gotten those shots and those vaccines, and we've never even, no one I know has had them. I know my grandparents have had those issues. My grandma had polio in the 30s, and it nearly killed her, and they didn't think she'd walk again. 2 generations later, everyone's being vaccinated. You don't even think about that.
Sure.
Once
again, let me make myself crystal clear. I will be taking the vaccine.
And I will too.
I just, like I said, if I don't trust the government. I don't totally trust Big Farm. I don't trust Big Farm at all. So I don't totally trust, the vaccine's going to all be sunshine and rainbows. But it is a necessity. So my point is I know people, like I said, I read this article the other day from, I read the Times and the Wall Street. I mean, it was one of the big, well established newspapers, news articles. Do they even print things anymore, or is it just all online?
I don't know.
It does. Anyways.
All online.
And the study was saying that, 1/3 of this country will not take they're not interested in the vaccine. They don't want to take it. I know people in my life that don't want to take the vaccine because they're afraid it might make them infertile. Now, once again, have I done enough research to make a qualified decision on that? No. And am I a scientist? Absolutely not. So I'm just basing this on what I've been, like I said, people's opinions that I know. I know some people that don't want to take it because they're afraid it's going to make them infertile. What led them to that conclusion? I'm not quite totally sure. I know people that won't take it because they say that it chemically changes your DNA. And these are all Trump people, mind you, at least with the DNA part. And to the point, I know somebody that said they're taking, now, once again, I don't think any of this is true, but it may be true. I really don't care either way. I know somebody was sending me articles saying, I won't take the vaccine because they use aborted baby fetus DNA in the vaccine. And I'm like, whether that's true or not, I don't believe it to be true. But even if it is, it's like, what the fuck does that got to do with the vaccine? So now you're using your politics, right? Mm-hmm. And then I know people that won't take the vaccine because they go, I'm 27 or 28 years old. I'm perfectly healthy. If I were to get COVID, statistically, I would probably survive. I don't have any overlying health issues, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, I don't want to take the vaccine. And it's like, okay, are we going to be in this thing for the next 5 years? These new strands that are out are dangerous. They're far more contagious. They're far more deadly, right? They're already here in this country. The other week, I was so nervous about these new strains. I was like, man, if these things don't work, if the vaccine doesn't work against these new strains that are coming out, are we going to go back to square one? Is COVID within the next year or two eventually going to become like the flu shot where it's 60% effective? You know what I mean? We don't know, and we won't know. Even the scientists don't know. We won't know for a long time. We won't know the real statistics, the real data, the real numbers just from what happened in 2020 for probably 5 years. There was an article that came out the other day saying that Cuomo, not from CNN, but his brother from New York, was under some heat because, once again, it's not his fault specifically, but that they were underreporting the deaths in the nursing homes because the way it was worded, if they died on site, they were being put in the statistics that they were part of the nursing home thing. But if they were in the hospital, if they were taken out of the home or assisted living or whatever, they were in the hospital and they died, the numbers were getting skewed. Now, once again, is this article factual or fiction? It doesn't matter. That's not the point. Where I'm going with this is concrete data, once again, all the history that we were taught growing up, now like Christopher Columbus, that was all bullshit, but because he's a fucking scumbag. But it was all in retrospect. So we're not really going to know everything that happened in 2020, the science and the data, the real conclusive numbers for years. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Sure. Yeah.
And, I can't wait for 5 years from now to look back at what's going on now going, all right, these were the real numbers. This is how many people really died. This is how many, think about how many people have had COVID that were asymptomatic. They're not reported. They're not a reported statistic that had COVID because they never knew they had it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be interesting. But this vaccine, I don't know. I don't know why people aren't getting behind it.
Same reason why people don't get behind a lot of things, Rob. Same reason why people are racist or sexist or bigoted or xenophobic or they thought Donald Trump was God. Like, people are...
God with an uppercase G.
People are delusional. People are tribal. People want teams. They want to be able to associate with things. They want to belong. They want to fit in.
I'm on a team too. I'm team America. I'm team
Team America, World Police.
We can be better. I'm team 1% better. If you can wake up, by the way, I'm gonna preach for a second. Little life advice. I learned this from somebody else. I won't say who, but this doesn't. I mean, I could, but you wouldn't know her anyways. Make your bed every day. Get up every day and make your bed. I was given this advice about 6 months ago. And I'm like, I'm one of those people, I never made my bed. What's the fucking point? Who fucking cares? Especially if nobody's coming over. And especially in the middle of a pandemic. Who gives a flying fuck about making your bed? Why? You're just going to get back into it in less than 24 hours. Unless you know, the sheets are dirty. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. She really sold me on it. All right, I'll give it a chance. First, like 2 or 3 weeks, it was a conscious, I got to remember to make my bed and do it. Like, I get up. By the time I'm done with my coffee, I make my bed. It takes 30 seconds. You know, you don't got to make it like a hotel. Pull your sheet up, flatten your pillows out, put your comforter on, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Make your bed every day. It change your life. 100. I'll die on that hill. I believe it fully. Make your bed every day. Wake up every day and try and get one. Try and if you're not doing great, you know, or even if you are doing great, you can always be better. Wake up every day and try and get that 1% better, that 1% happier. I'm not saying 5%. I'm not saying 10%. 1%. And then I'll add to it if we can wake up every day and try and be 1% better as a human. Try. You know, Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try. I wrote a song called Try anyways. But put the effort in, right? If everybody did that, we'd change the world. 1%. 1% better. 1% happier. Make your bed every day. Do it. I'm telling you. I'm living proof. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert John Fishbeck is living proof. Make your bed every day. It's been 6 months now for me. I feel better, you know. And it's not a, what's the fucking, a placebo. It's not a placebo. It's real. It's concrete. Mm-hmm. Do you make your bed every day?
I do. I've always been quite neat, and I made my bed my whole life. It was a thing my mom, you know, told us to do. And then, you know, when you get older and you're an adult, you make a decision. I stopped, but I was always kind of aware of it. And then in the last year, maybe longer,
sure,
I started doing it every day. But there's other things I started doing every day as well. I won't go into them because it makes people think I'm insane, so I won't. But I do a lot of stuff.
Insane in the brain.
I do a lot of stuff that's
membrane.
along the same line of making your bed, but a ton of things throughout the whole day. Mm-hmm. You know, to where every day is just very productive, accomplished. You know, you get through it. I could sleep at night.
Do you know about toilet plumes?
No.
I keep breaking the fourth wall. I'm gonna shed some knowledge on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you ready to be mind fucked?
Sure.
You ready to be fucked in the mind?
Sure.
Blown. Okay.
Yeah.
It was, I believe it was October 23rd. And Rob Fishbeck was that day, that amount of, you know, you've heard the term. I was today years old when I learned. I believe it was October 23rd, 2020. It was that week. It was a Saturday. I was given some knowledge that I did not know. If you don't put your toilet lid down when you flush the toilet, little tiny particles, because of the suck, go up into the air. Mm-hmm. Were you aware of this?
Uh-huh.
They're called toilet plumes.
Uh-huh.
Not
I didn't know the name of it.
Toilet
I'm a
flumes, because we got the spelling wrong for a bit. It's not. It's F-L-U-M-E-S or P-F-L-U-M-E-S, whatever. However, P-L-U-M-E-F. I still can't, because now it's become a joke. It's become like a bit where you spell it multiple different ways, because it's like, is it flumes or plumes? I believe it's plumes. Holy fuck. I was given... Now, granted, the amount of people that were in this conversation, 90% of them were like, well, duh. Yeah, I knew that. And I'm like, I didn't. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like I said, we all have a little OCD in us. That fucking night, I cleaned the shit out of my bathroom. Like the floor, the sink, the whole... Mm-hmm. Spent solid 20 minutes. Real 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So you knew this before. Mm-hmm. I mean, why is that not the stuff that we're taught in school?
I wasn't taught that. It seemed like common sense to me.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you're smarter than I am.
This how everything. I'm just like, I'm very analytical about things. Just put two and two together all the time.
Put your toilet lids down before you flush, everyone.
I always put my toilet. They're always down.
No. But I'm going to get really graphic for a second. I'm talking about you
Yes,
get done.
yes.
You put all the lids
Yes,
down,
yes.
and then you flush.
Yes. And when I'm not even using it, it's always down.
Well, it's always down for me, too.
Well, not for most men. Most men.
Well, yeah,
the
but I
seat's
grew up in
up, and the whole thing's up.
I grew up in a house full of women,
Me as well.
so it was different.
Women and men, but yeah, I don't know.
Toilet plumes. It'll change. Fuck. Knowing that knowledge, that'll change your life.
Then a bidet. You gotta use a bidet.
I've never used a bidet.
I don't know why you were so blown away by this thing, because that is what really will blow you away.
The toilet
The
plumes?
blow means not even. That doesn't mean.
Make
That
your
doesn't
bed,
blow my way at all.
put your toilet lid down, and Rob wants to learn what a bidet is.
A bidet shoots water.
I know it shoots
at
water up your bunghole. I
No,
know
not
that.
up it. Add it. It can go up
Add
if
it.
you want it to, but
Well,
it doesn't have to. Cleans you.
No kink shaming here.
No, it's not about that. It's about hygiene.
I'm kidding.
It cleans you like no stupid piece of paper that's meant to dissolve in water ever could. That's meant for drying, and the water cleans you. Yeah, it's great. It's very helpful. You don't feel gross all the time, especially when you're a hairy man like me. It adds up. It's a lot better. And it's a lot more hygienic. It's cleaner. You feel better. Yeah, it's not as gross. Yeah, it's better.
Are they expensive?
No, like 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm sure you can get a $500 one. You can get a $50 one. You attach to your toilet, attach it to the cold water send, and you're good. Doesn't do anything.
Rob's buying a bidet.
It's amazing. I have a hard time going to the bathroom anywhere but my house because of it.
Wow.
Oh, it's the best thing ever.
Wow.
Well, you know how men love taking dumps? Like, we're obsessed with it. You know that? Like, right. So imagine having that obsession and
I'm
the
not
cleanliness.
obsessed with it. I was trying to follow you there. I'm like, it's not. It's work. It's a job that I don't enjoy.
It's peaceful. It's where you get the mindfulness. You get to go hide away and just be with your thoughts.
I like to be fast about it. Get in, get
Well,
out.
you know that too.
Put your toilet down, flush the toilet, walk away.
But they
Wash your hands.
It's clean. It's great. So yeah, between the put the toilet seat down, the bidet, and washing your hands, it's a whole much better of an experience and cleaner, healthier. Yeah, that's about all we need to say about that.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
But a big thing I want to go back to, which is like way back, is
By the way, I got a tap. Like, good job, Rob. I went a whole hour doing this show with you without going on a like. We're gonna swerve this way, and that was my first time doing it. Was the bed thing. I've stayed on track for most of this conversation because we're gonna go back.
that's
now.
up for interpretation.
For Rob's standards. That's the one. Everybody that knows me, if they've known me for more than 3 hours, they know that the conversation's going to start here and it's going to end over there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that's what this is all about, though.
we can go back, though. Let's go back.
All right, so it's important to listen to someone, take in who they are, again, not by the way they look,
Right.
or what they believe in, or where they're from, but the content of their character, the way their mind is, right?
Right.
And that's what I did with you.
Right.
And we're here today because of it. You're not a bad person. You were not a bad person then. But if I were to just prejudge you, or if you were to prejudge me and be like, oh, I don't want to hang out with this liberal guy.
This artsy guy.
Yeah, this guy.
goofy guy.
He doesn't like believe the same things I do.
He's a hipster.
Exactly.
He drinks $9 coffee. It takes this goofy guy, it takes him 15 minutes to make a cup of coffee. Dude, buy a fucking Keurig. 30 seconds, you're done, brother.
First of all, about
I
6,
know,
7
I-
minutes.
I know.
Your numbers are high, but they're not too far off. But I'm gonna be more accurate. About 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And the way I can get them down, it's probably around $1.50 a cup when you do it yourself.
I know.
But if you do go to coffee shops, they can be $5, $6, $7, $8.
I've been to a few of them with you.
Yeah.
In the before world.
yeah. And
Remember when we used to go to the movies together?
I do.
That was so weird.
I know.
So long ago.
No, not weird because we're two guys. Weird because
No, weird because we went to the movies like
I miss
No,
doing
we
it.
don't say that anymore.
I miss going to the movies every Monday.
we go out to lunch afterwards.
Yeah.
That seems like a lifetime ago.
I know. I can't wait to do it again.
But
though.
anyway, so we don't judge people based on
Yeah, let me get back to what I was saying.
Yeah, it's your show. I have a tendency to hijack people's shows.
You hijack. I like it though.
I'm good at it.
I like it though. Well, my prerogative is to pry and ask questions, and I've been doing that. And you've been talking. I've been listening, and that's people need to learn how to listen more. Not saying you do. I'm saying
My son Santana only talks when I should listen. Yeah.
Don't judge people by their belief system. I've seen it too much on the internet. It is so counterintuitive to progress. Why would anybody change if you just berate them? Why? Tell me why. Give me any time that's ever worked. It will not work. It cannot work. The math does not add up. It takes time for anybody to see a different perspective. Give people the benefit of that doubt. If someone comes off as being sexist or racist, calling them that and blocking them won't help. Unless they might have a mental illness and they're just berating you. Okay, I get that. But on the average, they might just need to be heard, talk to them, maybe tell them anecdotal information, maybe tell them scientific information, maybe talk about history. Maybe they weren't educated on history and the trials and tribulations of people through over time. Maybe they only still know what's now and not what has been. Take your time with people. It takes patience. It takes education. It takes hard work. And I think that's why people don't do it. It's hard. It's really hard to be like, wait a minute. Oh, I agree with you about nothing, and I still want to talk to you and learn about you and try to give you as much information I can share. And it might take years to slightly turn your perspective because you're a good person, but you have a couple things that's contorted from reality, you know? And it could take years. And it's hard, and I think people don't have the mindset for it. They don't have the patience for it, and they just kind of block, done, F you, this, that. Oh, you believe this? I hate you. You can go to hell. Everyone who loves Trump goes to hell. Like, that doesn't... Why would that help 73 million people be like, oh, they're right, you know? He said to go to hell, so I should probably listen to them now. So I'm glad that you didn't do that to me.
Right.
And it's weird to say I'm glad I didn't do it, but I didn't do it to you.
Right.
You know?
But then at the same time, that was the before world. You know, I think a lot of people have changed now. You know, and they've either gone further in the wrong direction, or they've said, somebody like myself going, I didn't really pay attention to some things like I needed to. And I just kind of went with the flow. Now that I've watched and read and listened to people, listened to scientists, listened to, you know, people that are in these situations, I've now a little more, I'm not fully educated. I'm always here to learn. But different cultures, different religions, different political ideologies, further left or further right. I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen. And to your point, you know, like you just said, you just sit back and listen and then ask questions. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how progress is.
It's slow.
It's the only way. I know.
It's a lifelong journey.
It's the only way we're going to get anywhere, folks.
Like what you were saying about making your bed. That's one incremental step to that lifelong journey of honing in on who you are. It's small, but it's a metaphor for starting your day with something completed.
Right.
And the best part about it, the thing that isn't spoken about enough when talking about making your bed or just morning stuff, is when you go to bed, the bookshelf ends of your day when you go into a clean, well-made bed. That makes you feel nice. And you just flip the covers and you slide and everything's nice and the pillows are perfect and it's not a mess of everything wrapped up and a blanket shoved to the corner and where is that pillow's on the ground. That's very peaceful and that's calming. It's therapeutic on both sides of it. And that's the simplest metaphor for taking your time with stuff, do a little bit at a time, incremental changes. It is a very slow progress.
1%.
Yeah.
1%.
Going to the gym, to be obsessive and be like, I gotta look better. I gotta go to the gym. It's like, take your time. Go a couple times a week. Go once a week. Do that for 3 months. Then go twice a week. Maybe it might take you a whole year before you start going regularly. But hey, you got 80, 70, 90 years on this planet. Take your time with it. You'll get there. You'll be all right. Cut out other stuff along the way. Make that progress quicker by cutting out maybe the bad foods. So like going to the gym feels better and you got better results.
That's what I've been doing now.
That's good. I remember when we were talking about the fasting and the less.
See, none of that stuff worked for me. I eat like a caveman.
How do you mean?
I eat chicken or fish or tuna. I only eat red meat once a week. So I get two. So it's either Friday and Saturday or Saturday and Sunday. I get to have my fun meals. So like I had jerk chicken and mashed potatoes on Friday. And then Saturday I made pulled chicken because I've been learning how to cook more.
Why'd you say you eat like a caveman?
So during the week, I eat vegetables. I still eat carbs, just not a lot of carbs. 35 calorie bread or whatever. Meat and vegetables, like a caveman.
Yeah.
That's what they ate back
That's all I
then.
eat too.
No potato chips, none of that bullshit.
Yeah.
I haven't had a drop, not for any other reason than what I'm trying to achieve physically.
Yeah.
Haven't had a drop of alcohol in 3.5 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't drink pop, so that was never an issue. But
And you said the fasting, it doesn't work for you?
it didn't work. The intermittent fasting was difficult for me because of my lifestyle, my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I've not eaten yet today, but like when we wrap this up and I get home, I'll probably have like a Nutri-Grain bar or something. And then I'll go to the gym, and then I'll come home and I'll take my protein and my creatine. And then I'll make some fish and like a bag of Brussels sprouts probably around 6 o'clock. I'll eat that, and then I'll eat like another meal at like 9 or 9:30 because I'm up till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative to your circadian rhythm, and you have to hone in
Right.
on it. The diet interacts with the sleep. The sleep interacts with the diet. They both interact with the exercise, and they both interact with the mental stability and accomplishments of the day. You have to put them all together. They're all related. So when 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of the all 10 moving parts, any of them off, it won't work.
Right.
And that's probably why it's not working for you. Because do you go to sleep at 2 o'clock every day?
I usually don't go to bed before that, so. But that's it's just like for people that like a buddy of mine who kind of gave me some tips with this because he's like, well, this is why this isn't working, and that's why that's not working.
Yeah.
He wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He works for ComEd, so he works up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but he's in bed at 10:30 at night. So, they go don't eat after 7 p.m. Well, that's for people that go to bed at 10:30.
But you don't have to go to bed at 2.
But I like that's how I roll.
Yeah.
I'm up at 8:39. That's just how I roll.
Do you ever think about shifting it like midnight to 7?
No, because I work better at night. It's that mental thing of I can focus. It's the ADD. Everybody else is sleeping. Nobody's going to distract me. I'm not going to get any phone calls or emails. I can really focus.
That also happens in the morning though, because no one's doing anything. No one wants to do anything at 6
I'm
or
also
7.
not. I just don't. I've never been a morning person. I don't like mornings. I like the darkness.
Yeah.
I like nighttime.
Yeah.
Honestly, fuck the movie theaters. Fuck concerts. Fuck performing. Fuck trying to make it an entertainment. You know what I miss most about the before world?
What?
Grocery shopping at 1 a.m. Because everything fucking closes at like 10 o'clock now because they got to disinfect or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Same with the gym. My gym used to be open 24/7. And the way I've really been taking it so seriously lately is it's like, God, I wish I could. Because it's like, if I don't go before noon, between noon and like 6 p.m., there's too many people there for me. They follow all the rules, but it's too many people for me. It freaks me out. Plus, too, they're using all the machines I don't want to use. So I either got to go like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning when there's nobody there. Because everybody's there from like 6 a.m. to like 8 a.m. before work, right? And then during the early part of the day, there's nobody there. And then at night, the last like 2 hours, it's good to go. Because they close at 9. But they used to be open 24/7. I miss that work. I miss the nightlife. You know what I mean? It's midnight. I'm going to go grocery shopping. Hop in the car. There's nobody there. There's like 3 other people in the store.
There's also not a lot of people there, like 9:30, 10 a.m.
I know. But then you got to deal with sunlight and stuff.
So your seasonal depression.
I'm a vampire.
I'm going to give you some of my
I'm
own
a
advice.
vampire, baby.
You said seasonal depression.
Yeah.
That's due to sunlight.
I also do vitamin D therapy now.
Still not sunlight though.
I know.
So get more sunlight by
Red
waking
light
up earlier.
Yeah. But I don't go outside. But right. But you would have to go outside.
No, open up windows. Just have it coming in.
I don't like the sunlight. I like when it's hot. When it's hot.
Do you want to not have such a bad seasonal depression?
Yeah, I know. I should listen to your advice.
Then you should try it. You don't have to listen to my advice. Try it.
Try it.
You're lucky because it's February and the sun's already. It's been longer days, so it's best to start, in October, so you're prepared to get through. And I did it deliberately, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
I have had 0 issues with this winter. Nothing has bothered me. Not sad. Nothing. It's bulletproof because of the diet, exercise, sleep patterns, consistency, circadian rhythm. like everything. All of it built up, all those 1% have turned to like 90%.
That's the whole
And now
idea.
that's why I didn't want to go into it, because I'm trying not to be like, me.
Preachy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying not to be preachy,
Like I do all the time.
but I'm telling you,
Listen
it
to me.
works very well.
Yeah.
And I don't even use alarm anymore. I just naturally get up at 6:55.
Wow, good for you.
My alarm's set for 7. It's a safety net, but I never even get to it.
I'd sleep through an earthquake.
I can't sleep through anything. But what I'm saying is that all helps in getting in more daylight, opening up your curtains, letting sun in, going outside on walks deliberately, even though it's cold. Try it. Wear snow pants, wear goggles. Just do it. Get the outside into you.
I hate the cold.
It's not cold. When you have right gear, it's not cold.
I know.
I have so much laundry to do because I come back every day just drenched because I'm sweating so much.
I like wearing shorts.
Then don't live in Chicago.
I know. I bitch. I'm your typical American.
I'm sure you'd be very warm. You're a big dude. You'd probably be warm, I'm
Probably.
sure. I'm sure.
Oh, big old motherfucker.
All right, Rob. I know we had a certain time frame.
Dude, this has been a blast.
It's been fun.
Definitely gonna have you on my show.
Yes.
Within the next couple weeks.
Please do. I'd love to.
It'll be virtual.
Sure.
So
yeah, whatever you want.
I'm probably gonna have you educate my audience on technical music stuff. Did you see Rupert Neve died yesterday? No. We'll end on this. You want to talk about that for a couple minutes before we get out of here?
No, I didn't know that. I live under a rock.
But no, so I mean, full disclosure, I didn't even know he was still alive.
I knew so. I love
like
watching
96.
his videos on YouTube, just learning about electrical.
I know.
Electronics.
But I had recommended to everyone to watch Sound City, the Dave Grohl documentary, because that'll really, I mean, to me, that's what he's famous for, is the 80-28 Neve console that Fleetwood Mac cut rumors on and Nirvana cut Nevermind
Neve
on.
preamps and Neve equalizers.
Everything Rick Rubin was cutting back in the day, and Tom Petty and Heartbreakers. But I was reading a little bit to get, I mean, I remembered everything, but I didn't watch the documentary, but I was just getting some facts straight on Google before I did my show. And, it's like, there's probably about a dozen people from the 20th century that, it was like Phil Spector. He was a monster, but he was a musical genius, And I did a show on him when he passed, and I was like, let me be clear. He was a terrible person. Pulled a gun on the Ramones, pulled a gun on, Ronnie Spector. He was a terrible human being. But what he did to progress music with the Wall of Sound and everything, and those fucking hit records from the early 60s changed the game. So somebody like Rupert Neve, I would say, curious to know your thoughts, I'd say around a dozen people from the 20th century that built, I'm not talking Chuck Berry, I'm not talking about Bob Dylan, I'm not talking about artists, I'm talking about people behind the wall that laid the foundation, built the house that we now have to do all the capabilities that we have. Would you say maybe about a dozen people?
It's a lot.
Like
more.
Like Les Paul, definitely somebody.
The engineers and the scientists, you need a yin and yang. You need the art that uses the technology. That's why I love both. I love both.
Right.
And I think they're both important. But yeah, the engineers and the scientists who create the electrical devices come up with the schemes to make them happen, the technology behind it, preamps, equalizers, compressors, reverb units, tape, machinery, microphones, diaphragms on the microphones, all that technology.
See, I can't wait to bring you on my show because you can talk about all this stuff way better than I can.
Headphones. This stuff is what turned the 60s into such a phenomenon of music, because the technology was there to capture it. And the technology was there to make the effects that made the Beatles cool and Jimi Hendrix cool.
Right.
Jimi Hendrix was trying to play guitar in 1949. There's no solid body guitars yet. There's no wah pedal. The amplifiers can't even handle those sounds. Like, he was in the right place at the right time, like literally in the timeline of human existence. So, yes, people who created, for those who don't know, a microphone preamp is necessary in order to record. And Rupert and Eve designed arguably the best ones of all time. At least got the ball rolling on them. So yeah, people like him, they get underlooked. The engineers who create an operating system for a computer for us to use and record in Logic.
Right.
You don't know the names of those people. You just know about Kanye West who uses it. So yeah, it's important, and those people should be thought of more. You know, Michael Faraday, one of my favorite scientists of all time, who pretty much discovered electromagnetic fields within devices and created them using copper and magnetic poles to create a voltage, and that's what we have in microphones now and headphones, and no one knows who that is. No one knows that name.
I was today years old when I first heard this name.
Yeah, I want to get a poster of him framed and put there, and it's like, you know, he wasn't traditionally a scientist. He didn't go to school for it. He just studied it and read a lot about it and was naturally a very smart person, gifted. But yeah, these are the people that you're just like, I don't know, who's that? Who's this person? It's like, you know the artists, you don't know the people who made the equipment, the gear, and the foundation for them to be putting stuff through it.
We can't even get the Smiths into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, how are we going to educate people on who these folks are?
You're not gonna. But anyway, I digress. So
yeah,
you want to plug your things first?
You can find me everywhere at Rob Fishbeck, and then on Instagram at Rob_Fishbeck. Working on some music. We'll get there. We didn't even talk about music today, which was crazy.
No.
So you can tell we have a rapport. We'll be getting together doing some things. You can find us all over the place. And then check out my YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get some growth. I just really started about 3 weeks ago. So I'm a baby, but I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
And StreamYards is awesome because I just got that last week. A buddy of mine walked me through it. So live streaming has become so much easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do pretty much 3 shows a week on there, and then you can find me on stereo as well. We've already done some stereo shows together, and we'll continue that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being here, Rob.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tim Strzykowski, for presenting, bringing, and showing and letting me display your artwork, which you could find on Instagram under Bulbs 2021 or 2021. And thank you again, Tim, for your amazing art. Big fan. I wish that they could be seen more clearly on camera. And Rob, thank you for being here. You're a good man, good person. I'm glad that we didn't prejudge each other and we just looked at each other for being a person. And
now we're all on the same side.
And we're all on the same side.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Hey. Thanks, Rob.
Peace out, kids.
Bye.